She used to be an actress.
Has she ever done anything I saw?
I think her biggest deal was she starred in a pilot.
What is a pilot?
Well, you know, the shows on TV.
I don't watch TV.
Yes, but you are aware there's an invention called television, and on that invention they show shows?
Yeah.
Well, the way they pick the shows on TV is they make one show, and that show's called a pilot. And they show that one show to people who pick the shows on the strength of that one show. They decide if they want to make more shows. Some get accepted and become TV programs, and some don't and become nothing. She starred in one of those ones that became nothing.
Welcome to Couch Pilots. All of you are my friends. It's the show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. My name is Jason, and with me, as always, is the man who'll have hell to pay. It's Captain Philip Ressler. Good evening.
I owe him a lot. I owe hell a lot. I'm going to have to pay a lot to hell, I think, to not have to go.
Is that because you've gambled, rolled the dice, and now you are morally bankrupt?
Well, here's the cliff notes.
Give me the long short of it.
The long and short of it. In my early 20s, my plan was not to live past 29. That was my.
Is that when Hank Jr. died?
Hank Williams Sr.
Hank
died.
Williams Sr. I'm sorry.
And I lived my life to where I was like, okay, this is where we're gonna work. That was my goal. I had.
Why was your goal to? Because famously, Hank Williams Sr. a real son of a bitch.
No.
I thought he was not a good dude.
No, he was a good dude.
Oh, he was? I thought he was like a wife-beaten, child-leaving piece of junk.
No.
Okay, well, I'm totally wrong then.
No.
So he died in a car crash?
I mean, he didn't do everything. He wasn't a saint by any means, but he wasn't an asshole.
But why form your life around that man and when he died?
Because I was, I was very deep into him, and it was just, it's like we were your idol. You know what I mean? It's like if you, like, Kurt Cobain was your idol, and you were like, I'm gonna live fast and wild like Kurt Cobain,
Chris Farley, and John Belushi.
Yeah, same kind of deal.
He wanted to live his life hard and fast like he did.
Sure, and that was kind of. So I did not take care of my body. I did not take care of my mind. I did not take care of my relationships with anybody very well, and so I'm assuming the few good things I've done since I found out I wasn't going to die at 29. I still have a long way to go to make it up.
Got hell to pay.
And I think maybe that's why God's making me stick around. He's like, hey, buddy, we got about 30 more years, buddy, because you have got a lot to be able to,
30 more years from now?
Oh, God, no. Well,
I was going to say that's pretty generous.
Good. Ugh.
I thought 3, I think, is more accurate.
Yeah, 3. So I have, I still... My account balance with Jesus is in the negative.
Well, I say get to work, pal.
I am working so hard at it, and people make it difficult.
That's right.
Getting called an asshole twice in one night.
I know you had some trouble recently at the Moose. We teased it last week a little bit, but this is a big episode today. Mm-hmm. We've got a monster interview coming up.
Great interview.
Really, honestly, it's been my favorite interview personally for myself. I've had some good interviews that I really have enjoyed it, and you've always been a great part of those. But this one, I think, has been the one that I'm most proud of and happy to have done. But then we're also going to really kind of crank it up to 11 today on episode 300 and what to look at the end of next season.
Yeah, so we talked about it, and episode 300, we didn't give all the skibby about it, but we brought a man in here to get the skibby, and I've got something to say to this guy. Why don't you introduce him while I prepare myself?
Welcome to
He's the most frequent guest on the show.
Sure. He's on the Wall of Fame.
Everyone loves him, and what's not to love is what I say.
Have you ever experienced somebody in your life that didn't like you, like that you just didn't mesh well with?
Welcome, Matt.
Hey, everybody. So I got to field this ridiculous question off the top here. But it's great to be here. Thanks, everybody, for having me. I've told Blake before I fly a lot for work here, so you guys are the cheapest flight by far, but I know there's some concessions there in the safety space, but we've always gotten there in one piece, one way or the other.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's a rocky road once in a while, but...
Sure.
So have you encountered people in your life that just didn't click with you?
Oh, yeah, that question makes me cringe because of course I have.
And does it eat at you? Does it bother you? I mean, I'm not saying
well,
I'm not saying that you act like you want people to like you like that.
Right.
I'm not saying that, but being the nice guy that you are, I could see where I'm like, who's the idiot?
I'm going to give Matt a second to think on it because that's a good question. I'll give you a second to think on it.
Yeah.
Something that's always stuck out on me, and I think a lot of performers would agree, and I've heard multiple people say this, but the one that's always stuck out with me was Madonna. We all love the material girl, right?
Sure.
Everyone loves her. They want to go pay a lot of money to go see her in concert. She knows they're out there because they love her. I've heard her say in an interview before, she'll look out into a sea of people loving the show, enjoying what they're seeing, but she can pick out the person who does not like what's happening, the person who doesn't want to be there, and that is the one thing that always sticks in that material girl's mind, is that person who doesn't seem to be enjoying what's going on in a sea of people that love it.
Right.
A fraction of 1% of the people there, and she can pick that person out, and it sticks in her craw.
Ironically, Matt and Madonna both start with an M.
Oh, good point.
Matt, when you're performing and you see that one person, what?
I imagine, you know what? So it's not hard to come up of a list, whether it be family or other relationships that have been at odds. I think what you would see in me more likely is this and I'll even call, I don't know if it's a weakness, but this almost like hypersensitivity to repair that relationship.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
No, very much so, yeah.
The indifference or the conflict or the whatever the case may be, I can usually, I don't know if make peace with that makes sense or I can reason my way through that, but I am vigilant about repairing a relationship.
But are you able to say, I have done X amount of work, it hasn't worked, I'm
to be able to let it go?
Let it go, let it go.
I think, man, we're getting deep into my psyche here. I would say I've probably struggled with that, to be honest with you. Those relationships that have had those longer seasons, if you will, of disrepair.
I can't even imagine what that looks like. I can't imagine someone be like, you know who I don't like is that Matthew Phillips.
And
He's
that's
a real SOB.
That's
Who would ever in their mind say that?
I would go to that person and be like, are you an idiot?
There's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
You're like the Lakers of human beings.
You should not be. Matt should not be losing sleep over this the person involved.
Shame on you for not liking
Yes.
him. And
You
shame
guys
on you
are-
for making him lose sleep.
You
Yes.
guys are far too generous here.
We're
But,
very generous. Blake has a lot of ground to make up. He's got hell to pay, as it turns out. First of all, I love banter, right? Who doesn't love
Here
banter?
we are. Yeah.
But second of all, we got some business.
Yeah, there's some business.
We got business to
we got a
take care
table
of
to
today.
set here.
Right.
That's right.
This is the end of this season. Next season, we're on the march, not unlike Sherman's March to the Sea in the Civil War. Thank you. The march to episode 300 and the glory that awaits someone.
Final episode.
And Blake's final episode, as he's clearly made it known. But the march not only to the sea or to episode 300, but a march to glory for one of the two of you.
Right.
I think we know who this one's going to be.
I don't know. He's got physical problems that might level the playing field here.
Mental problems as well.
Episode 300, let's set the table. Blake, do you want to kind of throw some of that out there?
Yeah, I'm going to set the table. It wasn't too long ago that I challenged you to a game of basketball, which you are pretty good at.
It's like a year ago at this point.
Yeah, about a year.
Somehow we're pushing a year. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a lot on the line. There was a pair of pants on the line.
Yeah.
An awesome
integrity on the line.
not personal integrity.
No.
But there was an incredible video. If you haven't seen it, go to YouTube.
awesome.
You know what to do, Tube. And in the search engine, type in Hoop Jeans, not Hoop Dreams like the popular documentary, but Hoop Jeans, a half-hour video edited by a fan favorite, Adam Zielinski, on the show.
Yep.
And the two of you went one-on-one, and the video very well documents not only
How close it was.
well, we got some pre-interviews, we got the entire game,
We got the Mick Foley setup.
very
yes.
popular cameo by wrestling legend Mick Foley is in the middle
right.
of this too. But this is kind of episode 300 will not only be a landmark for the show, reaching that 300 mark, that 3-century mark, but also a landmark in that it's going to be round 2 for a competition for you gentlemen.
Right. Matt has agreed to let me kind of get some of my man card back that was tore up.
Oh no, you won't have any trouble getting it back.
And
You got to come harder than that, man.
I have challenged
Gotta
him.
come harder than that. Right.
I have challenged him to a game of bowling, 10 frames,
Yeah.
and I thought we should set some ground rules and maybe just talk about what's going to happen to you as you're wheeled out in a wheelchair.
Jeez.
No. So I think
This is how those relationships fall apart.
Yeah, Matt's already figuring out in his mind how to repair you.
I'll worry about my legs later.
So we need. There are some ground rules that need to be set. We can kind of talk about what we're planning on doing.
Yes.
You set the stage, and then we'll talk.
Okay.
Once you set the stage for the premise of what we're going to do with the show, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty of the signing of the contract.
A lot of times, things that go beyond just the weekly podcast here, whether it's the 12 Days of Couch Pilots or whether it's something like Hoop Dreams, Hoop Jeans rather, it's usually spurred from a small idea or someone else's engagement. That little piece of dirt in that oyster that eventually becomes a beautiful pearl. And then we rape that oyster of its pearl and drill a hole through it and wear it around our neck.
Sure.
In so many words.
Right. I'm a wordsmith, as it turns out. I see Hoop Jeans, your basketball, one-on-one, as the beginning of what I would hope to see as a trilogy of competitions between the two of you. Now, that wasn't an episode per se, but we did some pre- and post-game talk on the show. Like I said, we have the video out there for free to be seen on YouTube, and we are going to do something similar this time around at Sunset Lanes. Episode 300 will probably be another 2 to 3 episode version of the show where the two of you will face off in a bowling alley. And it's going to be a big party, basically.
Sure.
We're going to invite a lot of our friends there. I don't think we're going to watch a pilot for that episode.
No.
We've done Golden Girls for episode 100. We did Wings for episode 200. We try to make fun landmark things, but I think this is the only version of the podcast where a pilot will not be discussed, but rather we will cycle in friends of the show while they're bowling, do some commentary while the two of you face off one-on-one, and then have some wrap-up, but actually pre- and post-game with you guys, some talk and interview.
Yep.
Sure.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll video it. We'll probably make a big video out of that too. Hopefully, I don't want to spill the beans or say anything in particular, but there might be another cameo involved.
There we go.
We shall see.
Who
I don't
knew
know.
That'd be a thing. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But there will be a video. There will be a couple episodes for episode 300. A lot of our friends and family will be in attendance. I think it's going to be a great time. But specifically when it comes to the two of you and what that's going to look like, I had originally proposed an idea of a best of 3 games. Like your basketball tournament.
It was
the
best of
same.
3. Yeah. That's right.
And you won the first 2, and subsequently there was no third game.
Right.
Now,
by definition.
by the very definition of the best of 2 or 3. So I was proposing the same thing, but Blake, you said no. You said you want to do 1 game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be more fair to do 3 games, but I'm just wondering, time wise, if that you know what? Let's just talk it out, hash it out now.
Okay.
Do you want to do? I guess it is fair that you gave me 2 out of 3 basketball games. Is it fair to do 2 out of 3 bowling games when we won't need all?
Let me ask you this before you answer: how long does a game between 2 people usually take?
It won't take very long.
I didn't think so.
No, now that you're mentioning it, it's not going to take very long.
I would say that my initial, when we talked about this first months ago, I was also thinking best of 3 at the time, but we had nothing in writing. We hadn't discussed it.
Just so we're clear, this will be in writing.
I got a pad of paper.
Thank you.
Yeah. I struggle to look at this from a fairness perspective. I'm talking to a guy who's going to nationals next week.
Anybody can go to nationals. I didn't get selected. If you pay the entry fee, you can go to nationals.
But what
you're
I will
talking
say,
to a guy who tied him a few weeks ago in bowling.
but what I will say,
after I had pulled 7 games,
can I try to? I'll try to put a bow on the relationship part. If I did a deep dive into my relationship, here's a twist, with myself.
Okay. Ooh. Is that how you refer to yourself, as self?
With myself.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Is that when I'm least inclined to be on my own side is when I will get so super competitive with myself. And every now and then that'll leak out into whoever else I'm competing with.
Sure.
So I have to try to harness that. But with myself,
Did you harness that during basketball?
Well, you kind of said it did you notice, and nobody notices this. I thought this was really astute that you caught that I never make eye contact on the court.
Right.
I never do. It's all internal. If I miss a shot, I didn't miss it on you. I missed
it
it
on
on
yourself.
myself.
I've missed it on myself.
No, yeah. So, honestly, it's kind of disingenuous because you were there playing defense. But when we get to a solo sport, kind of
Right.
like
Golf.
like golf. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
Internally,
There's nobody to pass it to.
so one of two things are going to happen. Either I'm going to crumble and bowl a 90, or I may break my 160 all-time high. I don't know. But
Okay.
either way, it's not going to touch you, I think.
Well, you're already, you're giving in already, and there's,
I'll come to fight.
okay,
for sure.
That's what I want. I don't want you
bet.
to. I don't want you to
No,
lay
gosh,
down.
I've never laid down.
Well, when it came to
not one
hoop
time.
jeans, no one ever said, like, Matt's out there playing basketball all the time.
Sure.
It's his sport. He loves it. He's been playing it for over 20 years,
And I
probably
really,
30 years.
and I really hung with him during
Well,
the games.
Basically, what I'm saying is that no one ever stopped you, Blake, from saying you can't practice. And obviously, you bowl all the time.
Right.
No one's stopping Matt from saying, "Hey, maybe once a week and from now until the time that we get
Would
into
that
the
be
bowling
frowned
alley."
upon?
No,
if I go
not at
out there
all.
and dust off the old
Hand.
dust the hands off.
No,
So no one's saying that you can't practice. And I kind of agree, and I said it earlier, but I agree with Blake. You need
Yeah.
to come heavier with this.
Yeah.
You can't come in here saying, I'm laying down to you, Blake. He talks shit to you the whole way through,
If I may-
and you got to step up, and you got to give that right back to him. This is going to be epic. This is not going to be Matt goes to the bowling alley to lay down for Blake. This needs to be one-on-one
I will say
pumping.
this. I couldn't agree more. There is. I might be just trying to beta him though. Like right. Like,
I got you. I
Kind
got
of bring him in a little bit.
Okay, do what you gotta
And
do
I-
then.
So we'll
to make me go in there, with a
little
swagger,
soft, a little
swag-
swagger, but also say like, hey, I don't gotta totally show up
Right.
today.
Okay, I got
If I
you.
can bring you down to a 150 and I break an all-time high,
I tied him at 144.
I had bowled 7 games.
You had bowled 4 games. That was number
Yeah.
5, and then you beat the hell from me at the next
What
game.
did I bowl? Right before I bowled that 144.
That was incredible. I believe it was a 269.
holy jeez.
It was incredible. That was
Holy
I
jeez.
was so impressed. I took a photo and sent it out to the guys. It was. There's no joke to me. It's like stand-up comedy. This past year, you listen to stand-up comedy podcasts, and you're like, I haven't done stand-up in a year. I've done it over Zoom, and it's not the same. I feel like I'm rusty. If I don't use it, I lose it. People are chomping at
It's
the
a
bit.
perishable skill.
Yeah, exactly. They're chomping at the bit to get back in the clubs and practice their craft. Same thing with golf. You got to be out there perfecting, making that muscle
craft.
memory of that
That's
swing.
right.
Sure.
Same thing can be said for this.
Has this been discussed yet? I can't shake this thought. Episode 300. Blake, what is a perfect score in bowling?
300.
My man.
Right. Yeah. That's kind
I
of.
you
did that.
bowled
I'm smart. I put this together. I'm smart. Jason's smart.
This guy. No surprise there. Blake, have you bowled a 300?
No, I had a 279, so I had
Holy cow.
I had a spare in the second frame. So the first frame was a strike.
Yes.
The second frame was a spare, and then I struck out.
Holy cow, that's incredible.
So
That is
I mean,
incredible.
But I know guys that have like 27 300s.
You will absolutely get there. And
I
that's,
just want
that's
one.
incredible.
I just want one.
Yeah,
You'll get
there's
it. You will
no
get
there's
it.
no
I want a sanctioned one. I don't want one like.
What does
me
that
and-
mean?
when me and my buddies are bowling and I get a 300, I don't want that. I want a sanctioned.
What is
300.
sanctioned?
like in a tournament.
In a league, or a tournament,
Yeah.
a
Oh,
USBC,
okay.
because otherwise I don't get that ring.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, you have to pay for the ring, I assume.
Not the first one, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it solid gold?
It's kind of like a class ring.
Is it?
It looks a lot like a class
Does
ring.
the alley have to be registered to issue a ring? Like
The
if
league
it-
does.
The league does.
The league,
Okay.
yeah, the league does.
What would you
Because
guys-
the alley is registered every year. They have to get certified
To
And-
host the league. No.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
okay.
if you're having a USBC league or tournament,
Right.
at all, so every year they have to get certified. Their lanes have to get
Do they
certified.
come and measure the amount of like ball oil that's
Watch
going
your
down
mouth. This is we've turned this into a family show.
I'm not sure.
I wish you guys would have told me.
Yep, just recently. No, I'm not sure all the comings and goings. I just know that there's a sticker on your window
Right.
on the door that if you're certified or not. So
You get 300 tomorrow. They give you the ring. What do you do with that ring? Are you wearing it? Does it go in a box? Do you display it somewhere? Does it hang from your rearview mirror? What do you do with that ring?
I think that I would. I'm a very humble person, so I wouldn't wear it all the time. I don't like to wear rings. I think I would display it maybe like not in the living room, but maybe like in my room to I don't want everybody.
I would do one of those implant
Oh yeah.
People get like big things in their cheeks or in their ears. I would think kind of like I'd Gwen Stefani it right between my eyebrows and the forehead.
No, I think it would be a trophy for me.
Okay.
Like Eli has bowling trophies in his room. Molly, when she bowled her high game, I got one of the pins from that rack. And,
that's cool.
And I dated it and everything, and everybody signed it.
Very cool.
It was playing, and it was in the league.
3 years from now, when you're dead, are you going to be buried with the ring?
That's what I was thinking.
No,
Matt was thinking about your demise.
Yeah, no, it would be left to said person. Yeah,
It'd be willed. It'd be willed
To me, it would be willed to me, right?
I'd be bewildered if it was to be.
You'd be bewildered if it be
Somebody did.
Bewildered.
I edited it wrong.
Be Wilbert. Be Wilbert.
Be Wilbert to you.
Okay, so we got the first rule that we have set into place is best 2 out of 3. Okay, we're going to alternate lanes per frame. We're not going to bowl in one lane.
Right.
That's a weird. I didn't know that was a thing that existed, but you alternate lanes. So when we go there, you guys will have your own 2 lanes for yourself, and then we'll probably have, I'm hoping, another 3 to 4 lanes full of all of our buddies and friends that want to come and join us for beer, pizza, soda, and bowling.
Sure.
Okay.
So the oil wears evenly. Is that right? So on both lanes, we don't want to.
The oil could be different on both lanes.
That's fair.
They have patterns. Each bowling alley has their own secret pattern. I found.
We learned that from Stephanie.
So I have something to propose. Do not feel beholden to it. A game 3, which would most likely, per our rules,
naked.
Now, Jay's not going to like this. Would not happen. Just based on 2 out of 3. Can you bowl? Are you right-handed? First of all,
correct.
Can you bowl with your left hand?
On the third game, a handicap?
Would you bowl with your left hand? No, you and me both bowl with our left hands. I am right-handed.
So are you saying if I beat you the first 2 games, then we do bowl 3 anyway left-handed, or are you saying
just for the pageantry of
just
it?
to
Just get out there, yes.
So, but like if we're at 1-1, we bowl the third game. We bowl it regular.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
If we're 1-1, we'll bowl legit on the third.
Well, that's interesting.
If not, we go into this I don't know what to call it. Don't have a name for it yet. We both just wait. Since we're both right-handed, we bowl with our left hand.
I used to play Skate or Die on the Nintendo Entertainment System, and when you play Skate or Die, you skate one way, which is the way most people skate. If you do it the other way, it's called Goofy Foot. I would say that this is called Goofy Hand.
Love that.
Sure.
Goofy Hand.
What do you say to
or
that? What's
Bizarro,
your initial reaction?
Bizarro bowling.
I will. If we're in agreement that if you beat me 2 games right off the bat, or if I beat you 2 games the third game, if it doesn't count toward,
That's right.
It will not count.
If it's not a 2-love, then we
Yes.
go to a third one
Then-
and we play.
And I wrote it down as that.
This is good and ultimately filler for the podcast. So that's good.
Sure.
That is good.
We're chewing up some clock. Yeah.
I really would like to make episode 300 3 separate episodes, one of each of the game. And I can't imagine bowling commentary being that entertaining. So while you guys, before and after you bowl, we'll talk to you. And then during the bowling, we'll probably be keeping an eye on you. But I'll probably bring in guests,
Sure, just
past
shoot the
and
shit.
present.
Yeah, that's great.
And then, like I said, no
You'll
pilot
have-
will be watched.
You'll have to keep the score updated, but
Sure, we'll probably
Frame
do
by
some
frame.
updates. Yeah, we'll do that. So that'll be fun. I think that's a great thought, Matthew.
like
Thank
it.
you for
I like
throwing
it.
that in there.
You bet. You bet.
And thank you, Blake, for agreeing to do a best of 3.
sure. Now we do have to discuss a very important situation.
Can I guess?
I think I know what he's going to say too. Go ahead, Blake.
Go ahead.
Well, now I want to know what you guys say.
Well, go ahead. What do you think? You said you wanted to guess.
Apparel.
No. It's
not apparel.
I was thinking apparel. I thought,
No.
what is on the line?
Yeah.
Some sort of clothing.
Oh,
No.
okay. No, I thought.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that at the end. We'll get to that at the end.
Yep.
There is a potential for one of the 2 of us to be injured at the time of bowling.
You
When
mean
we're supposed
during
to-
bowling or before?
No, before. They're
I
good.
was gonna say.
So here's my thing is
So you want a contingency plan?
I want a contingency plan because there might be a situation. I do have I have had 3 months of injury that
Right.
it's not cured. It hasn't been fixed. It's been band-aided.
But if it flares up,
But if it flares up again, I don't want to. I want to.
Well, what's your idea for the contingency plan?
Well, that's kind of what I'm thinking is, do I get to pick a person to sub for me?
oh, interesting.
Oh, a sub. That's
Or would
interesting.
there be a
Or would we just play?
postpone or
Or would we just
No,
no
there would not-
no postponement.
no postpone?
No postpone.
postpones.
The date that we eventually decide on for episode 300 will be very carefully crafted based on the people who are most important involvement and their availability. So we cannot postpone. But that is an interesting thought. If you're injured, can you have a subby?
I have, and same with you. I mean,
I wouldn't have any issue with it. I honestly wouldn't. I would just, fingers crossed, of course, hope it was
Sure,
you.
no,
Yes, yes.
but I'm just saying this with this situation. That shot is not going to last 6 months.
There's
You know what I mean?
Unpredictable nature. To
Sure,
it,
and I don't
yes.
want to ruin it for people, and I don't want any kind of conflict because I know,
Yeah.
you know, I don't want any changing of the rules.
So you agree that if Matt's injured, he gets a sub,
Correct.
and vice versa.
Oh, I see.
Okay,
Yep.
here's what this is something I'll add in the mix. If one of you is injured, the person that you have pick as your substitute will have to wear the mask of the person they are representing.
I tell you what,
That would mean you would need at least a week.
No,
What's the turnaround time on a mask?
you guys start on your masks now. It doesn't have to be a whole. It could be a piece. It could be a paper plate that you draw something on. It's got to be fairly representative of you, and just get something together. Figure it out. But there better be if you're injured, the person replacing you has to wear a mask of you.
Question.
Do you guys agree to that?
For sure. If
Blake?
we don't...
Do you agree?
I'm not going to make my sub wear a mask of me.
Do you agree?
I can't.
wants a yes
I
or no.
can't. I can't agree to that because I don't necessarily know who my sub is and if they would be comfortable with that.
Okay. I don't like that you can't agree to that. Matt had something else he wanted to add though.
What I was going to say, would we be interested in wearing a mask no matter what? Like this would probably say, you know,
Like COVID-wise?
Well, for sure, COVID-wise. Is this for me? For you?
Blake wants a beer. Hand that to him, please.
I couldn't
him.
do this.
He loves beer.
Yeah, I got it.
Blake loves beer. It turns out.
Well, to each their own.
So what are you saying?
No,
here?
no, no. Like, if we go to the trouble of making these masks as a contingency, I feel like we should use them in some capacity. Like, if we have them,
They would be displayed, possibly.
maybe I don't know. Either
trophy?
either that or a left-handed mask match.
Okay, I'll do left-handed mask match.
So you're saying if a mask is made and prepared for the possibility of a substitute,
Right.
and the substitute is ultimately not needed,
Right.
we still need to incorporate the mask somehow. And in this specific case, it would be on that potential third game
Of a
with the left hand, the goofy hand game.
The goofy-handed, left-handed mask match.
Okay, we're really getting to the shit now. We're really getting into it. All right.
Just a couple more things.
A couple. Okay, yeah.
So when we played basketball, there was no point spotted.
Oh, like a handicap.
Yeah, there was no point spotted.
Right.
Are you in agreement that there are no pins spotted on
No
this?
pin spotted.
Okay.
No, sir.
All right.
And that's a handicap. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, there should be no handicap.
No handicap.
This is raw. There's no handicap.
There was some early discussion on it, though. I don't remember you bringing it up, though. I think maybe did I mention it? I don't know. That sounds like a.
Yeah, I think you said I'm going to kick your ass so bad. Do you want me to spot you some points? And I said no.
That sounds like Matt. What did you guys play to in basketball? Was it 15? 10, 15?
11.
11.
Okay, so
11.
so if we didn't start Blake with 10 points in the basketball game as a handicap, so Matt shouldn't be spotted any points on the bowling.
Okay.
Agreed.
And now the last thing, in my opinion, unless somebody else has anything else, there was a trophy at the end. The winner took home a pair of pants.
Right.
Which is beautiful because that's been a 25-year like thread that's run from.
And I'm sure that your wife has already thrown those pants away, or they're in a closet.
Oh, I hope not. They're in a closet.
Did you
for
bronze
sure.
them?
Yeah. Did I closet? Yeah. I framed them.
Do we want to do pants again, or do we want to do some kind of different trophy?
Well, I will say this, and I again, whatever you guys decide, it's up to you. But Matt brought that to the table as a story from his childhood.
Sure. No, yeah, that's how we got.
But do you have a version of that? I have something in my head that I'm thinking.
Well, go ahead, because I'm not thinking anything right off the bat. My dad a new butthole.
What if we acquire a copy of Micro League Baseball?
It's impossible. You can't.
I don't think it's impossible. I think I'm gonna try to find one.
So let's do this. Let's come up with one and then a sub
A
one.
contingency, and then that contingency will have to wear a mask of the original prize. If
there's a third match,
there's a third. Okay, so that's a potential one. Matt, do you have any ideas for what the trophy could be for this time?
I was a little dialed into to micro league baseball only because I don't know the background there. So
You don't want to know.
Okay,
it's very dark and upsetting. It's almost not funny at all. Some would say, but sometimes you have to mine humor from horror.
For
as it
sure.
turns out.
That's
For
how
sure.
that's how I get through it. Is I make humor of a situation
Right.
that was.
I was going to say, have
very
you
traumatic.
ever? Well, I think
I don't think if you told him the story, I think he would not agree to this.
I also agree. I think you're right.
So that's why we need a contingency.
Okay,
We'll talk offline about.
Well, maybe.
to Jason's question, the spirit of the pants match was that it was just so absurd. Excuse me, that two 15-year-olds would bet a pair of pants.
Sure, no,
Have
right.
you bet anything before in the past that was just super absurd?
How do you give someone your dignity?
And that's the thing.
Let me count the ways.
Hell to pay.
No, I don't think I have anything. So, I mean, do you just want to do a trophy or
Maybe some sort of fungible. Matt loves fungibles.
I'm non-fungible.
for a Dogecoin?
I would wallet. Do you have a wallet I could send it to?
I don't have a wallet.
Matt wants
Like do you have a digital wallet
No,
that I could
no,
send you
and I
Dogecoin?
don't want
Matt
one.
wants to gift you 1/64th Bitcoin.
Hey, that's not bad.
It's not
Make
bad.
some money.
That's
Oh,
a little.
yeah.
That's a little chunk
Shoot,
of change.
yeah, heck yeah, it is.
The other day, I was like, "Hey, let me know. I'll give you some money, and you can
$1,200
be my
bucks?
accountant."
Right now, it'd be about 500. Yeah,
500,
about 500
okay.
bucks. Yeah,
There you go, buddy.
What?
you want about 500? Well,
1/64th
I
Bitcoin.
wa-
Come on, that's
I,
not
I don't.
shake a
I don't
stick
want.
at.
I don't want to put his family into financial ruin by.
He'll be fine. This is nothing for him. To be here is nothing to him. All right.
I'm hung up.
we-
I'm hung up on the Dogecoin. But we got to figure out how to wire it to.
All right,
it.
well-
Yeah. See that?
We'll work on that. We'll work on
All right.
what prize, because we have a whole season. This is the end of season 29.
Could we crowdsource it? Sorry to cut you off. Could we crowdsource it from the listeners? Maybe like a Chris Tuckley could chip in.
Maybe so. I'm sure he'll hear this. I'm
So
sure
we're gonna table.
open to ideas.
We're gonna table the winner prize.
Okay.
Yes, that is. We'll put a pin in that. Put that in the parking lot to use awful business acumen.
Yeah, corporate speak.
We'll circle around back on that.
All right. So real quick before we move into the pilot, it's a best 2 out of 3. Practice is allowed. if you.
I drove by Sunset Lanes the other day, and I saw it. I told Heather, I was like, I think that's where we're bowling.
Destiny awaits.
Destiny awaits.
Alternate lanes. The third game will be left-handed if the 2 game has already been won by said person.
With a mask.
And the second is left-handed mask match. No pin spotted, and the trophy has been tabled.
TBA.
TBD.
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 Right.
All right.
I'm in.
All right.
Okay,
Are
love it.
you scared?
Well, I imagine in the moment, I'm not scared.
Okay.
Once we get there and I see you in full form, I'll have to channel some of that.
You know,
Are you not going to look at me while we're bowling or talk to me?
Yeah, like what is some of the protocol like in a competitive match?
Bowling etiquette?
Is there a handshake? Is there
Well,
a
to be honest with
curtsy,
you-
a curtsy maybe?
To be honest with you, when I bowl in leagues or in tournaments, when I'm bowling the person throws a good shot, I still say nice shot.
Good.
Even I say nice shot, maybe a fist bump.
I like that.
just like Filter once said, "Hey man, nice shot." Right?
Yeah, it's not a cutthroat kind of thing.
I like
you know?
that.
But I also have been known to talk shit not while said person is actually bowling. They're in their but
There was light smack talk and hoop jeans, so
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
completely allowed.
Yeah.
You guys should be able. The door should be open on that. Whatever you
Sure.
guys want to do. I look at the tape, and again, it's available for everyone to see on YouTube of hoop jeans, and you could see the choices Blake made in his apparel for that event. I would love to think that Matt comes heavy on that game, and he brings the heat.
I don't think he has.
There was so much skin show.
He doesn't have the balls for it.
I have seen him dress
Oh,
insane.
Jay's seen it. Yeah, you bet.
Specifically, Josh's bachelor party when we went to go get ice at Kroger. We're talking
Javen and I both. Yeah,
Daisy
yeah.
Duke, white trash, hillbilly, fake mustache city.
In East Peoria, nonetheless. Yeah.
Matt is more than capable to do this. Whether he chooses that or not, I think I hope he keeps it close to the vest and will unveil it at the time.
And it doesn't mean that that I might not try to psych him out again with
That's
my
true.
apparel.
It definitely had an effect. We'll put it that way.
That's true. Okay, the gauntlet's been thrown down.
Love it.
Things are in motion. We've hinted at it. I think we've really cemented a few great ideas today. A little bit more to flesh out going forward, but this is an excellent base to start off on, and
I look forward to it.
I've been
Yeah, you
excited
bet.
for this for a while.
I look forward to the camaraderie
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
and whooping your ass.
Camaraderie is short for comrade.
Comrades.
I'm gonna just like the Russian beat up Rocky in Rocky 56.
I mean, ultimately, the Russian Ivan Drago lost, so I wouldn't compare yourself to Ivan Drago. For your sake,
just
you
like
beat
For
Vladimir,
your own sake, yeah.
just like Vladimir Putin versus Biden, I'm going to win.
Biden would beat the hell.
Gonna ride
or,
a horse
Putin would.
shirtless.
yeah. Putin, he could.
He'd put the poopins on him.
Yeah.
Today we discussed the pilot episode of What the Hell is Going On with Vic Berger from the year of our Lord 2000 plus 20. You know what? Not a great year. I've never said that before. Not a great year. 2020, not a great year.
Because obvious reasons.
And you know what? Those reasons have nothing to do with this pilot, but everything to do with disease,
Right.
And
COVID-19.
as far as the states are concerned,
United States.
an election that about tore us a new one. Yeah,
What a shit show this country is. We suck. This country sucks.
it was a brutal year. Well, you know what though, they say. What do they say in pro sports? It's only a bad practice if we don't learn something from it. So maybe that's. I grant you, 2020 was awful, but it would be even worse if we don't learn something from it. Darn it. And that's my take.
That's a good take. And I will say this too. Hoop jeans happened in 2020.
That's true. Just a moment of, right.
There are some good things that happened that year, I
Sure,
suppose. Few and far between. But thankfully, most of us are still here and still standing like Elton John once and only once said.
Yeah.
So right now, let's shift our focus to 2020, which was just last year.
Right.
Rarely do we do pilots that were a year or less ago.
Yeah, this is a tight window right here.
Yeah.
So let's go back to 2020
In our minds.
and to do so, we'll talk about some things that happened that year so we can properly be in the mind frame of when What the Hell is Going On with Vic Berger was actually released.
Yep.
So June 2nd of that year, a United States $5 billion class action lawsuit is filed against Alphabet Incorporated and Google, alleging the company violates users' rights to privacy by tracking them in Chrome's incognito mode. You guys ever use incognito?
No.
I know of it. I want to say yes, I have, but the feature is super hard to find.
Oh, is it really?
It is really hard to find. And so that's maybe like just the fact that it exists. I don't know the nature of the case. I think I remember bits and shades of it, but yeah.
Basically, there are services, like a popular service like Google or Google Chrome, but there are other search engines out there that say, we are offering you complete anonymity with your searches. And apparently, Google Chrome violated this at some point.
Well, and there's also all kinds of third-party services, whether it be VPNs or otherwise, that will start to mask and conceal. But to be integrated within the platform itself, like Google is,
Used every day by hundreds of
All kinds.
millions,
You bet.
billions of people.
you bet.
Blake, do you never go incognito? You never use DuckDuckGo or whatever
No, I mean, I understand very much that the government knows where I am all the time through my phone, that companies find out what I look at, what I purchase, what I talk about, and my Alexa can hear.
But there's nothing secret that you want to keep from everybody?
No. I mean, we've discussed some of the stuff I've watched, but it doesn't matter to me.
Oh my God! Let it be known.
Yeah.
Right. What if you want to buy drugs? What if you want to buy some sort of narcotic?
That's a really like that question is being batted around even like crypto circles a lot right now. But still, I think it's the narrative is still very well alive that cash is still king when it comes to
Really?
Yeah, when it comes to illicit drugs and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely no trace of one hand to the other. Just
That's
But then they probably take that cash and launder it via cryptocurrency.
Via crypto or another form of digital currency. Yeah.
Yeah, where there's no serial numbers. Everything's just out there floating and you're pissing in the wind.
There's the days of, like in Breaking Bad, having to buy a car wash to launder the money that you're making. You don't have to do that anymore. You can launder your money via computer through said digital currency. Is that correct? Am I correct?
Whether it be digital, virtual, whatever the case might be. I mean, it's just we're in a cashless society, and so there are other paths. Crypto's kind of out in front right now. But we've had Visa, we've had a PNC check card that I carry around.
Diners Club.
I don't see cash anymore. If someone wanted to, I have $2 on me, maybe. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's
As a bartender, that's not the case for me.
You keep a lot of cash on you, right? You're an easy target when it comes to mugging.
To be honest with you, I've had a roll of $500 in my pocket every day this week.
I saw on the counter in the captain's lounge upstairs. Yeah. You got a bunch of 20s on the counter.
Yeah, there's $500.
And I'm thinking, how much do I really value Blake's relationship with myself? Do I take?
But
this money?
Because as a bartender, I worked 30 hours this week. Extra, at the booth. So you get paid in cash and. Yeah. Let's just, I could easily go put it in the bank and then it's on that card. But,
But you want to buy narcotics where cash is king.
We could go super far down the rabbit hole here.
Of narcotics? I want to talk a lot about illegal narcotics.
Am I doing the wrong thing? Should I be putting it in the bank right off the bat to draw interest? Because interest rates are so, I'm not making any money.
Oh, boy.
I'm not making any money.
I am so tempted to go so far down, and don't let me.
We can't go down.
This one's a long one. My short answer to that, not financial advice, because I don't know everybody's personal situation. I would discourage putting them in a central bank, to your point, for 0.019% interest.
Because if I leave it in the house, I shouldn't carry it around with me. I should not carry around a roll of $500.
I think a best practice would be to not have that on your person.
Folgers can.
Yes.
To leave it in my house.
Yeah.
Because if the whole fucking world falls apart,
For
I've
sure.
got 100.
If
I've got
there
100.
is a security concern, I'll grant you that. But
I've got a Derringer, so there's no.
You do now.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I bought one for $50.
But the nerdy way to frame this would be your purchasing power of that money in that can or under that mattress or in that pocket or that Folgers can is eroding at a rate that's unsettling. So, yes, I'll leave it there.
It's eroding in regards to
your purchasing power of that money, of that cash.
Yeah. What I can get with that cash is...
That's right. And we don't watch that because time moves so kind of like looking in the mirror. You don't realize you're aging that fast, but...
I've noticed some gray on you, but yeah.
Oh, for sure. Maybe, yeah.
Every day we age a little bit, but we don't see it. Then you go without seeing a guy for 10 years, he looks at it and he's like, Jesus, what happened to you,
A perfect example is the other day, I came out from the bedroom in the morning and my wife goes, how much weight have you lost? And the reason why she said that, she does see me every day, but she doesn't see me with only underwear on very rarely.
I would love to see that.
In the daylight.
Yeah.
And I was like, I haven't lost any weight. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And she goes, how much do you think you weigh? I was like, the last time I weighed myself, I was like 190, 195. And she goes, no, you're at like 150, 160.
Whoa.
Went into the bathroom because I wanted to prove her wrong. That did not work. I have lost like 20, 25 pounds.
Cheers, man. Awesome.
But it's not like
no.
But like when you're a girl in high school and you're down to 97 pounds, no one says congratulations because they did it the wrong way.
Sure.
Blake has lost weight with the. It's not the Atkins diet you're on. It's the
it's
Miller
a pork
Lite.
chop in a can.
Pork chop in a can diet.
I will not eat a full day, but have 9 beers.
Yeah.
Which is not the way to go.
So there's a good way and a bad way to lose that weight.
But I'm just saying the same thing is
you look great.
That's just an analogy that
it is.
Yep. So what do? Yep. But you just said not to put it in the bank.
Yep.
But you also said don't keep it in a Folgers can because
right.
I'm. So
this is where the rabbit hole goes.
This is where I give you the money and you put it in a digital ether. And then you give me check for $1,000.
Do we or do we not buy Folgers cans? Just yes or no. I don't want the rabbit hole. Yes or no.
I'm going to say yes to you.
Yeah, thank you.
You seem the most comfortable with this.
I'm very angry. I love Folgers. They have crystals in there. I love crystals.
It'll keep your money crystallized.
Did you put the crystals in?
Did you put the crystals on it? I do. I have thoughts. I have answers there, but I certainly don't want to derail.
Okay,
the rest
let's
of
do
this.
this.
Oh my
One more
God.
question, and then we'll move on.
Thank God.
Yep.
Let's move on.
We're not gonna ask a number from you.
Yep.
I'm not gonna ask a number.
Yep.
I'm gonna ask a percentage
Yep.
of your
Net worth.
Of your net worth. How what percentage is in the bank? What percentage is in your house? And what percentage is in a digital currency?
I like this question. Not only that, but I know the answer, and these are legit
No, that-
numbers.
yeah.
For sure. 0% is in the bank. 15% in real estate and equity in our home. I would say 35% right now is in cryptocurrencies. And then what does that leave us with? The other 50% is in stocks and securities, equities. I've recently started startup business investing. So I'm a very modest percent of that is in startup businesses, but yes.
Yeah, you ever offered to invest in couch pilots?
Couch Pilots is a growing entity.
Are
Okay,
you guys,
so
are you guys
so you're telling
considering
me-
going public? Is
No,
that what's on the table here?
We've been available to the public since day one.
you have a bank account. You
do.
have a bank account.
I do.
And you told me there was 0% in that.
Can I show you?
No. I don't want to see any numbers.
No. You would see a 0.00, and so I digress. But yes, every Sunday morning, I wake up and so my bank. Now that I've said it, you guys can edit that. My bank will send me something. Will be my balance in my checking account. I am hoping that it shows a negative number or a 0.00.
Overdraft fees.
I love overdraft.
I think what we're really getting
You're
from
like,
this
I'm
is-
doing my job right if I have. That's
It's the truth.
insane.
It's the truth.
But that's insane to
exactly
me.
right.
Like as a normal person that's not into, it has never had enough money to mine says 0.00 because I'm paying all my bills on
I know
Friday.
how that must sound.
But
yeah.
that's amazing to me that because what you're saying is the way we have done financial business for hundreds of years is no longer the way to do it. Which that's what I'm just trying to point out.
I think, by and large, that's part of my thesis. But yes, I will say that.
So with those percentages,
Right.
do you feel you're more at risk, neutral, or less at risk of losing money each year?
So I need to respond with a question because I do get this question from time to time. I know we're
playing you
we're
off.
over. Yeah, we got to play this off.
I got you.
If my time frame is 3 to 5 years, then I say I'm actually operating with less risk. And I know someone on the other end of this podcast just cringed.
No, nobody knows about money and listens to this. You don't even listen to this.
3 to 5 year timeline, I would wager that I'm operating with less risk.
One more question. If you were to pass tomorrow, God forbid, would your wife be able to access and get all your stuff squared away and not
No, she would need help.
Do you have a contingency plan for that?
For about 60% of that. Yes, I do. There's 40%. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean
That would be super difficult for her to.
and that's bad, right, for your family.
Yes, but there's layers to that. Yeah.
Okay,
She would get to it.
Blake
Okay,
had
okay.
Blake had recently said to me, "Why do you think our downloads have dropped?"
It's me on.
No.
And
No.
I think Blake and Scott have really
No.
leaned into the.
I think my questions are absolutely different than Scott's.
Well, that's fair. No,
his
granted.
questions are, how do I make money? My question is, just tell me the difference. I mean, you know,
For sure. Maybe
yeah,
there's a little more of an educational component. Yeah.
His
yeah.
is, how do I make money? I didn't ask you that
Blake
once.
said, "Why do the numbers of the download of the show go down so much?" And
I'm sorry.
up until right now, I didn't have a good answer for him.
I can hashtag digital currency and
You
we're
can
going to get more.
hashtag all day. if
Here's
you
my
want.
offer. Just chop that whole segment out. Blake, you keep it.
No, I'm not going to chop it up because
Laziness.
You were not laziness.
Oh, no,
at all.
okay.
You were actually saying to me, "Oh, these are good questions," which Jason never says to me. So I seemed.
I know. I say good
I
question.
seemed
all the time to
intuitive.
him.
I seemed intuitive.
I just don't know if it's relevant to the show, but that's fine. I was going to breeze through these two. So I do 3 reasons, like while we're in the time frame. of
Yeah, I'm
2020.
sorry.
June 9th, COVID-19 cases exceed 7 million worldwide, and a Harvard University study suggests that COVID-19 may have been spreading in China as early as August 2019 based on hospital, car, park usage, and web search trends.
Huh. This show's built in the back of his back perps.
Very good thing. And June 17th, actor Danny Masterson is charged with raping 3 women, almost closing the door entirely on a That 70s Show reunion.
Oh, I've been keeping up with that story.
He still might do the reunion. But,
No. I've been keeping up with the story.
That one was fully off my radar. Who
Rooster.
is
Hyde.
Rooster. Oh yeah, on the ranch he was Rooster. On that 70s show he was Hyde.
the shaggier guy.
The curly hair, yeah.
Yeah, curly hair, shaggy guy.
In the past 2 weeks, he has been in court. The past 2 weeks, the judge is trying to decide whether or not to go into, a trial, and he is a Scientologist, by the way.
To me, that has nothing to do with it.
Oh, it does actually has something to do with the case for sure. No, it does.
Can you give me 2 sentences on why what you're saying is accurate? Just 2 sentences.
The victim was told by the Scientology department not to report this.
Oh, that's one sentence.
They stronghold this woman because the woman was asked, "Why didn't you report this at the time?" And her answer is, high people in Scientology came to her and said, "You do not report this. We don't air our dirty laundry
I
out."
guess what I'm saying is, if you look at the widely intelligent works of L. Ron Hubbard, and nowhere in there is it going to say you should probably rape some ladies. That's true as well. I'm just saying there's probably nowhere in any kind of religious text.
But it does say in the Scientology is we don't air our dirty laundry in public.
That's just bad people doing bad things, and you have that in every religion, everywhere, forever and ever. Yeah. So I don't think the works of L. Ron Hubbard and his quote unquote religion are telling people to rape people as much as you just have human pieces of garbage at the helm.
Right. No, sure.
Which is everywhere. Which is everywhere all the time. It has nothing to do with Scientology in particular.
There are bad actors in all faiths.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So, but
except Buddhism.
Except Buddhism, which is completely pure and innocent as the driven snow, as we all know. I don't know about you guys, but with talking about rape and Danny Masterson, I am safely and securely back in the year 2020.
Perfect.
I was 39 that year. I happen to still be 39 right now.
I'm 40. I was 45. I'm currently 46.
I think this young man over here was 38.
Yes,
Nice.
sir. 38.
So, Matt, do you know why we chose to watch What the Hell is Going On with Vic Berger?
You bet. Let's go with it must have had only one episode. Awesome! It must have been available online, and it had to be free.
That's exactly right. Well, you're probably asking your dumb self, where can I find the entire episode of What the Hell is Going On with Vic Berger? And you can do so by subscribing to Couch Pilots and SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then simply click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or go to YouTube. Matthew!
You'll know what to do, tubes.
Flight attendants.
I love YouTube.
Prepare for takeoff, please.
It's unlimited free content.
Best subscription I have. If I had to cut,
Do you have it?
If I had to cut all of, I thought about this the other day. The short answer is yes.
Yeah.
If I had to cut all of our other subscriptions, we don't have Netflix, but I would only.
You don't have Netflix?
No, sir.
Okay.
We don't.
What are you, a communist?
Yeah, that's a good question, Blake.
Good follow-up question, Blake.
Is that are you
Undecided.
A communist?
I keep asking my wife, why do we pay $5.99 a month for CBS All Access when you watch nothing of it because you binge the show in 1 week and each month you don't cancel?
Is it tied to another service?
It's now Paramount Plus.
No. But
CBS All Access is now Paramount Plus.
Okay. Oh well, then
but it's good.
Maybe we should keep it then because she got CBS All Access because she wanted to watch the RuPaul show.
Oh, the Drag Race. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one.
That was a show I was going to go see in Vegas, but she won't let me go by myself. She would feel bad. Like she's really into RuPaul drag show, and she's like, "How would you?"
She'd have FOMO about it.
No, she would
Fear
just.
of
We don't. Again, this is a family show, Matthew.
Oh,
Please refrain
No,
from
she's
these.
just saying.
Can you
she's
guys
just saying,
edit that?
That's pretty crappy. She didn't say it.
Husbandry.
For you to go see that when you know it's one of my favorite things, that would be kind of which makes
She wouldn't
sense.
be willing to vicariously live through
Blake,
you.
No.
do you want to go see it?
I did. I thought about
insanity.
it. No,
this is absolute insanity. No. If she loves you, she should want you to be able to go see the things that you enjoy.
She would let me. She would just feel like she missed out.
Well, then go and don't tell her, and you can have that experience for yourself. This is ridiculous. How much is YouTube every month? Is it RedTube?
Oh,
or is that just a porno site? Is RedTube is a porno site?
Red tubes.
Red tubes, which is the color of all of our urethras. When you rip them out, they're red.
$11.99
$11.99
a month.
And that's the only platform you pay for.
No. But it was if
everyone
only-
uses YouTube every day.
That's right.
Who wants to waste 30 to X amount of seconds or minutes watching commercials?
I watch commercials all the time. I don't care.
That's fair. I would just say it's the access, the ease. I can leave it streaming in the background on my phone, so I'll close my phone.
You can close your phone, right? Yeah.
That is, but believe it or not, I thought about that for
Give me that content.
a couple months. But then once it's legitimately a thing. I know I'm totally like shilling for YouTube. They don't.
No,
need
I
it.
asked because I use YouTube all the time. I suffer through the commercials.
But the closing your phone is a thing. I kid you not. That's a thing.
You're right. It eats up your battery and stuff. YouTube's smart. It's the smartest people in the world working on that shit. They know exactly what they're doing.
Yep.
And that's fine. Summary of the pilot. Blake just stepped out to ostensibly take
Goodbye,
a huge
Blake.
piss. So he usually grades this part of the show, so you're going to have to step in and grade.
Let's do this.
I don't always force the guests to grade, but you're going to have to do it
One
here.
time before, and I was in Blake's presence, so it was awkward at best.
Well, summary of the pilot: video editor, family man, and all-around confused American Vic Berger sets out to figure out what the hell is going on with steel. Grade it.
I'm going to give it a strong A minus.
A minus. And you know the grading scale is like a school scale.
You
so
bet.
so you're a listener. A minus. That's a great grade.
I feel like though somewhere wherever Blake is, assumably the restroper.
oh yeah, he's in there. He's in there doing a lot of
he
wiping.
Just fell
He does like strong swipe wiping.
heavy wiping.
Wiper, no wiper, right?
Here's what I'll do, Blake. I just got to grade the description of the show.
Yes.
A summary.
Summary. Thank you. The summary, and I gave it an A minus. Not hearing it. How do you grade my grading? There's no.
How do I grade your grading, or
Yeah.
how do I grade?
I've never heard you give anything above probably a B.
He's a tough customer.
You're a tough grade.
No, I completely I trust in you. So I'm gonna give
got-
you. I'm gonna give you
I
an A
did
minus.
not break the trust at an A minus.
I'm
How
gonna give
about
you an
that?
A minus.
You trust Matt? I trust interesting facts.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Interesting Facts. This is the part of the show where Jason has scoured the internet to find facts about this show that you may not know. What we ask of you is that you don't taint someone else's experience by giving your opinion on these facts. They are facts, nothing you can do about it. Deal with it. Let it ride. Keep your fucking mouth shut, basically. That's not even half a shot.
It's,
That's not even a half a shot.
there's no way I know what's right
Yes,
and wrong
ma'am.
here.
He's just sipping a little bit. I bought the Screwball peanut butter
Yeah.
whiskey. It's pretty tasty.
Oh, it'll get you.
We were hanging we were hanging offline the other night.
Oh, again, you
There
guys
was
were hanging out, and I wasn't
No
invited. I understand.
podcasting.
We're in the chill zone.
We're and this showed up. It legitimately tastes like
No, it
peanut butter.
Yeah, it's peanut butter, no
Jelly. First you take the peanuts
and you pick them. You pick them,
And you first you take the peanuts and you pick 'em.
and then you smash them. You smash them.
That was a jazzy song for kids, wasn't it? It's a real jazz. You remember that song, Matt?
I sure don't. Yeah.
peanut butter.
You don't remember that?
jelly.
I don't think so.
It's basically
peanut butter, jelly.
you do that in first grade. You
Yep.
learn, but it's essentially how to make a peanut butter and then also jelly, and then you put those things on bread and you have yourself a nice sandwich. Interesting facts. Release date January 16th, 2020. Fact.
That would have been the day before. I can do one better. That is my lovely wife's birthday,
All
January
right.
16th. There we go.
His birthday is the day before his wife's birthday. How about that?
yeah,
Oh, reverse it. Day after.
Heather is the first.
Oh, so-
she's-
okay.
Even I knew that.
But you know who's on the 15th? Because I get messed up a little bit. You know who's on the 15th?
John Wright.
John Wright. Never mentioned on the show before, and you know what? We'll never mention him again, ever.
I love you, John.
John Wright. Yeah. So Vic Berger is an editor-writer known for his work with Tim Heidecker and Eric Wareheim, including the On Cinema Oscar specials. Fact.
Fact.
Directed, produced, and co-written by Dave Page, who has produced some great comedic television such as Comedy Bang Bang, Nathan for You, and Check It Out with Dr. Stephen Brule. Fact.
Comedy Bang Bang.
Fact.
Comedy Bang Bang. Comedy Bang Bang. Comedy Bang. Comedy.
Comedy Bang Bang. Comedy Bang Bang. Comedy Bang Bang. Comedy Bang Bang.
Used to hate Scott Aukerman. Loved him for a while. Hated him for a while. Love Scott Aukerman right now.
I love him always.
No.
I always love Scott. He's great. And we got to meet him. That one time.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Oh, Lauren Lapkis. By the way, you may. This is something you may not know. No, you were on the text chain. Lauren Lapkis is pregnant. And
Super pregnant.
Super pregnant.
Congrats to her.
Yeah, her belly is actually bigger than her nose for the first time.
Jesus. For someone who's got a 2-ton mega crush.
That's gone, done and gone.
But you go through phases.
Sure,
She's a attractive lady.
She's a very good.
Congratulations to her and good
Yes.
luck with the baby. I'm very excited for them. You know what's funny, and I almost mentioned this because spoiler alert. We're doing an interview later, and but I almost mentioned this in the interview because I said that Dave Page was the producer for Check It Out with Dr. Stephen Brule. Have you seen that show before? Dr. Stephen Brule, obviously the star of another episode that we had done in the past called Bag Boy, which ironically we had Matthew here for.
Darn straight.
Yep.
I was very excited to have him back for this because it's tangentially related.
Yes.
John C. Reilly never admits or says that he is Steve Brule.
Right.
He treats them as separate entities.
Kind of like Green Day and the Network.
Exactly. Well, that's pretty close. But is that a douchey thing to do, or why do you think John C. Reilly
It's the
does
mystique
that?
of it. It's the mystique of it.
It's not a mystique though. It's super fucking clear that it's the same guy.
Yeah, but it's just it's not. He's not breaking the fourth wall for fans.
Is it Andy Kaufman and that character, that lounge singer character that he does? Is it the same thing?
Yeah.
Tony Clifton.
Tony Clifton.
Is
yeah.
it Andy
Yep,
Kaufman?
that's what it
Because
is.
we all know.
No, we know
that
it.
Andy Kaufman was
But
Tony
we can
Clifton.
live in. But when you're watching Tony Clifton, you're not like, oh, that's it.
Is this like a Garth Brooks, Chris Haynes
Yes.
thing?
Chris Gaines?
Chris Gaines, what did I say? Chris Haynes? Yeah.
I guess so, yeah. But also the fun thing about Andy Kaufman and Tony Clifton is that Bob Zamuda would also play Tony Clifton, and then a possible third unknown party would play him. But we all knew that it was kind of a subset of
Sure,
Andy Kaufman.
yeah.
Is that what John C. Reilly's doing? Because we all know it's him.
Is the question is Steve Brule an alter ego of?
No, he's saying is John C. Reilly a douchebag for not admitting, just saying that yes, I am, or it's not. Is it not douchey that he's like?
I guess yeah.
I am.
Are there reasons that he's not admitting or acknowledging that he is the Steve Brule character? Is it douchey in nature, or is there another reason that I'm not recognizing? I may be stupid and not knowing.
So are we saying that he's not acknowledged? So he's being asked and he won't answer?
He treats it like it's a separate person or a different human being Steve Brule. Like in interviews and stuff, he will not acknowledge that he in fact is
Right.
that character.
I don't know.
Like
I don't feel like I'm.
like the Network.
Yeah. I would think it would just be to protect the character. I don't know. That's just
Okay,
my.
Thank you.
I'm not
Thank
mad
you.
at John C.
Yeah.
Reilly. I think the character is wildly entertaining.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say beneath him, but like Tim and Eric are not household names. But I think, and I don't even think John C. Reilly is a household name, but people will recognize
bet.
John C. Reilly if they see that guy's face. Like, oh, there's that guy. So. It's weird that he has said, I will hang out and participate in this goofiness with you guys as this character. But I don't think it's in an attempt to protect himself or his persona from his A-list status as an actor versus it's just like a method way of going about things. Does that make sense?
I think it's-
I may be
it's-
completely off base.
I think it's grade A compartmentalizing. I really do.
Okay.
Because he has nothing else to fucking do.
I don't know about that. Do you ever see Moonbase 8?
No.
You want this?
No.
What do you got?
Learn hand signals.
What's that?
What is this?
That's your phone. You want me to go to my phone?
Yes. Jesus Christ.
Can we?
We'll just.
Can we take a break at the interview? Yeah. You got to pee?
I gotta smoke.
You got to smoke. Okay. All right. We're almost done here.
No, I'm just. It was supposed to be like under the table, not happening.
Oh, no.
Nobody knows about it. But
All laundry aired, friend.
It's out there now.
I apologize, man. I try to be professional, and somebody over here.
This has been one of the more professional episodes
has,
I've been.
wow.
I know. Yeah.
Although at Folger can't talk.
We're doing it wrong.
I thought it was going south at Folgers. Yeah.
Here's some information directly from Vic Berger himself. He's at one point he had posted this pilot available to everyone. He said, "This is our pilot we made for TBS in early 2017. Directed by Dave Page, produced by Tim Heidecker and his Absolutely Productions, and shot on a tiny budget. We did our best to get to the bottom of what the hell is going on with the steel industry in America by speaking with people in my hometown of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Bethlehem is an old steel town that still feels the effects from closing of the Bethlehem steel plant. Unfortunately, after a lengthy development process, it did not work out. We never got to explore the many topics that we wanted to dig into future episodes, but in this, we made something we're really proud of, and we're happy to finally be able to share with you. Thank you to all the incredibly talented people who made this pilot possible. Hope to be able to work with everyone again someday, and who knows, maybe there's another life for this show down the line." A lot of great information from the man who essentially created this show, and a lot of information from Twitter responses.
Yeah. Twitter responses. I wonder if Jason has got some Twitter responses.
I don't have Twitter responses per se, but I'll do you one better. How about we do an hour interview with Vic Berger himself and the co-writer, director, and producer of What the Hell is Going On, Dave Page. All right, we are here, thankfully, today with Dave Page and Vic Berger, the stars, writers, directors, producers of What the Hell is Going On with Vic Berger. This is an interview, Blake, that I'm actually very excited to do.
Oh, no, yeah, you've been very excited since you got it rounded up. So.
Yeah. So this is one of the few ones, like, we've talked to some guys that, like, we have no idea who they are, but they've been great interviews. But every once in a while, you get someone that you're like, I am legitimately, like, a fan of this person, and these guys fit the bill.
So you're going to fanboy out the whole time?
Yeah, please rein me in.
I was going to say, we never get to fanboy out about these pilots, so...
Yeah,
we'll just hang up if that's the case.
Right. You say, I got our secret.
No, we're excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Happy to have somebody talk about it actually and think about it. Yeah.
Well, you had asked before we started, Vic, like, how did you guys find this or hear about it? And I don't know, like, when a mom is in a crowd somewhere, she can hear her baby calling for her, you know?
I do know.
And so, like, yeah, exactly. Thank you. But, like, same thing with failed pilots. And I hope you're not taking offense to the word failed, but, like, pilots that, you know, unfortunately didn't go further than that first episode. I hear those when I'm listening to podcasts or interviews or whatever, and someone mentions a pilot. My ear perks up like my child's being abducted in a crowd. So I can't remember.
It's a handy skill to have.
Right.
Virtually useless, but yes, yeah. So yeah, I got a couple of questions if that's all right. Vic, if you don't mind, I'll start with you. I just last night, I didn't know this existed, but I heard the entire "Late Enough to See the Moon" album. And
oh wow!
And it's I had no idea that you were like a graduate. Was it of Berklee College of Music in Boston? Is that right?
Yeah. I went to Berkeley, and that was my original plan from high school to get into rock stardom. You know, go that route. And
that was Vic's major.
Yeah, that was my
rock
major.
star.
You could actually major in that.
Leather pants.
You paid enough money. Yeah, you paid enough money. You could become a rock star. You get your diploma, and then they set you out on the road. But no, that didn't quite work out. But music was my first love, and that's like that on that album and the previous one. They're all songs from over the past 20 years or so, and I'm like, that is, speaking of lost pilots, that's basically a lost album. That no one knew existed. I never thought anybody would ever hear. Really, a lot of personal stuff that I was just recording at the time, and almost some of the songs are almost like therapy in a way. Flannelgraph Records convinced me to put it out, and they did, and I'm happy for it.
Were they all ready to go, or did you guys have to run them through a producer, or did someone like a sound? I assume you have a lot of skills and experience as being a sound engineer. Were these songs polished and ready, or did someone give them else a nice gloss over before they went out?
They were. I had them, on hard drives and cassettes, just sitting around, and I lost like all of the original, files and everything. So what you hear there are things that I just mixed years ago. And then Jared Cheek at Flannel Graph sent it to Russian Recording is the company, and they do great work, and they polished it up, and I gave them notes like it's way too loud here, and even though that's not his role as doing the mastering, as to fix some of the mix as best you can, from a finalized version, but he did good work with how rough around the edges that thing was.
Well, I like I said, I listened to it. It's 17 tracks long, and it's really good. It's fun and catchy, and there's like a lot of upbeat, like quick hit songs clocking in under 3 minutes. But at the same time, like you had mentioned, there are some even the song titles kind of beckon to. There's some emotional stuff going on here. I'm working through it, but it all stays pretty upbeat.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you. That's that's pretty cool to hear. And actually, Dave worked on a music video. He directed the only music video I ever, made and shot for the first album. And what's the song called? Every time I get close to you, and you can see that on my YouTube channel.
I did actually. I saw that.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, and that is very cool too. That's one of those like modern music videos that reminds me why I loved music videos back in the day. I think all of us are roughly the same age, and so I came to watch MTV in the early to mid 90s, and I feel like music videos felt kind of like mom and pop back then, and it felt like just stripped down and real. And the video is great. It's you like walking around the city, like trying to approach a lady who has like a giant eye for a head, right?
Right.
Yeah. And then I saw what's that?
I was just saying it was very stripped down and real how we made it. It was like four of us running around.
Right.
It looks super like as stripped down as you say it is. It looks very like it's clean and it looks good. It looks very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Big ups to Eric Bader who shot it. If he's listening.
Exactly.
Eric Bader. Okay.
He's a wizard, and he did a great job on that.
Well, I saw there's a video also for Numb, which is on the Late Enough to See the Moon album, right? That's the first track on that album,
right?
And that
was that's got a big fascination with Billy Bob and Showbiz Pizza, and there's this these old videos of when they were converting Billy Bob into Chuck E. Cheese, and it's sad just to watch that. They're just dressing them down and converting them and just tearing everything away. So I thought it was kind of a good fit for that.
Oh, yeah, it was terrifying.
Yeah, right.
Blake,
I terrified my kids with that too, because they're big Chuck E. Cheese people, and they were like, I was also like, as I'm editing that, I was also watching them, babysitting them.
Oh man.
And so they were like speaking in, like, what is this? And I would just quickly change the what I had on the screen as fast as I could.
Like you're looking at porn or something. It's
exactly. Right.
Well, I don't know if Blake
like that's
is
the usual speed over there.
Right.
Like quickly getting something off the screen before a 4-year-old rushes.
Right.
I don't think Blake has seen the video, but Blake, the video is then like Vic was saying, converting the old Showbiz band into the new band. And it's like them breaking down the animatronics, and like Five Nights at Freddy's. We've heard of that, right?
Right.
Like that's saying, here's something from your childhood. How about we make it nightmare fuel?
Right. Yeah.
And that's
exactly.
That's what the video is. But in that, it's awesome because you got the nostalgia and the weirdness. That was a really cool video too.
No, that's cool. I'll check it out.
No, thanks, man.
So, Vic, obviously your videos on YouTube are pretty popular, getting hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views, whether it's like cuts of Joe Biden urging people to vote for someone else, or Bill Clinton regaling us with the joys of the entire Police Academy filmography, Jim Baker selling us buckets of brown food, or even Adam Levine bewildered and tickled by his own popularity. It's clear that folks love it, like when you take aim at people on the spotlight. Are these editing masterpieces how you got involved with the Tim and Eric camp? Did they see these and say, hey, please come party with us?
Yeah, I was just looking for a way to get my songs actually like heard by people online. And I just like was like, I know people will watch something longer than just listen to something. There's, I could put up a blank screen or something with the song attached to it, but if there's video to it, there's a better chance that they'll sit through the whole song. And I kind of just like was doing that as a fan of Tim and Greg's On Cinema.
Sure.
At the cinema, if you're familiar with that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and this is like, was this 2014 or something? And they'd release an episode, and I would write a fan's response in song and attach a video to it, and I would kind of get that out the same day. It was just like a project I was doing. I did maybe 6 or 7 of those, and Tim, really found them funny, and he found out that I was from the same hometown. Basically, he's from Allentown, Pennsylvania, and I'm from Bethlehem, and I think that like clicked with him. He's like, "Oh, this guy's got something weird going on here. I don't quite know what it is. I like his aesthetic, DIY, and
something's in the water in Pennsylvania."
Yes, right. Something's going on there, and it's just a fun project for me. And then Tim like DM'd me out of the blue one day. He's like, "Do you want to edit something for the On Cinema Oscar special that's coming up?" And I guess like in his mind, he thought it was like a video editor, and I had, I was just using the very bottom of the line, like Sony, whatever. I don't even remember what it was. Sony's editing software for video. I can't remember what it was. I should remember what that was. But I was just using the most basic thing, and I was like, "All right, sure, I'll do it." And then I ran out and got a MacBook Pro, and I was like, this is because I know they're going to be sending files that I need higher quality files. I need to figure out what I'm doing. So I got that, and then over the next few days I learned how to use Final Cut Pro, which is thankfully very intuitive, and just it's something that's you can just figure out just by messing with it.
Sure, yeah.
And they sent the files over, and thankfully it worked out, and Greg like loved it right off the bat. The first cut, he's like, "Holy shit! Like, I love what you've done." It's like sent me this green screen footage with Joe Estevez and Donna Prea, who was in Godfather 2, and it's like, what? This is so bizarre. And Eric Natornicola was the director, and he was giving me some tips, like notes on what to do, and then thankfully it worked out, and then from then on I could consider myself a video editor. That's not a typical type of video editor, but I have my own kind of niche there. I've carved for myself that it's weird and DIY, and it's
I think it speaks to a couple different fronts. Obviously, you had kind of tapped in to their sensibilities. First of all, second of all, you took advantage of an opportunity, and no one was paying you to do that up front, right? When you're first doing it, And I hear that so often. People are. They pay their dues. They do a bunch of stuff for free. They send, whether you're sending in jokes at Weekend Update or Saturday Night Live, or you're doing some animation for a podcast, and then Seth MacFarlane sees it and hires you. People are out there. You just have to have, gumption, or you have to have your own grit to get yourself up and get moving. And it sounds like that's exactly what you did here. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And and sometimes I feel like an imposter. Like why am I? I like you were saying, I didn't go the traditional route. And I remember, I didn't know it at the time, but the first time I ever met Dave was on the set of Steve Brule on Check It Out. I came out to LA to meet with Tim, and I did the Neil Hamburger show that he does he used to every month at the Satellite. I played some videos there, and Tim brought me onto the set into this diner, and in the middle of shooting, like they stopped filming, and I met Steve Brule, and I met Tim, and then Steve Brule asked me to go get my computer and like show him my latest creations, and I just felt, it was amazing, but I also felt like what am I doing here? Why am I getting this special attention?
Wow.
But but thankfully it worked out, and Dave wasn't too annoyed with me after that. And he still wanted to work with me.
Well, it looks like you guys.
I didn't know who you were at the time, but that changed.
You guys have
immediately after.
worked together on a number of things now. And the last thing I'll get into with Vic real quick is that I listen to Office Hours every week, and I watch the videos when I'm able to
awesome.
sometime. And I just want to say that I think you compliment Doug Lucenhop so well, and the drop concerts you guys do are some of the things that I never knew that I needed in my life. It's so funny. Like
That's awesome to hear.
at the end of the show, you know, people are winding down. Usually people are throwing out plugs and you skip it. But I listen to the last second every time because I don't know what crazy shit you guys are going to do. And it cracks me the hell up. So I just wanted to say I appreciate those and thank you for being a part of that team.
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks for listening. And that's the cool thing about Office Hours. We can do weird stuff like these drop concerts, and where Doug and I have all these just random sound files that we've accumulated over the years, and just these really like in jokes and everything, and we can find a place to use them musically. And we actually just filmed Drop Concert 2, the movie, and it's going to be cool. It's like professionally shot, and there's a lot of guests on it, and I think people are going to dig it.
Will that be a Patreon thing only, or is that going to be available to purchase, or is that the High Network maybe? Is that what it is?
No, probably not a High Network, because that's like the On Cinema universe. But I think it'll be available, wherever you can buy movies. Apple, whatever. I don't even know how to buy movies anymore. Like wherever it is. It's if you type in Drop Concert, it'll be there, I think. And,
okay.
And I think officialofficehours.com. And probably maybe another month or two that'll be out there.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, thank you for answering those. Hopefully they weren't too much of fanboy questions there.
Not at all. No.
Dave, I wanted to mention, I in the earlier segment of the show, I mentioned some of your credentials, but I did want to. They bear repeating now. You're a co-writer on What the Hell is Going On, and you're a producer for some of my favorite shows in recent history, such as like Comedy Bang Bang, the aforementioned Check It Out with Steve Brule. John Benjamin has a van, underrated show. Super.
Yeah.
And then
ahead of its time.
Oh, absolutely. And then a guy who was on that show, Nathan Fielder, Nathan For You, just a fan. That guy, I have to assume Nathan Fielder is an insane person. I can't imagine someone being so even keeled and just stoic and then belting out what he does. It's phenomenal. But something else that you were a producer on was a former pilot that we've talked about here, and I'm sorry we missed you that time, but was a show called Bag Boy. And I don't. And some of these we say, you know what? There's only one episode. We don't know if it's technically supposed to be a series or just a fun one-off thing. But I so badly wanted to watch that and talk about it that we put it and we did that show and we loved it. Obviously, it was so funny. So
I believe the intent was. I think that was just sort of an experiment, where those guys were kind of open to see where it goes, but. Yeah, they just, as I remember, they just kind of wrote Adult Swim and said, like, what about a sitcom where Steve Brule is, the star inexplicably of a sitcom and works at a grocery store, and the execs at Adult Swim were just like, yep, go for it.
Wow, unreal.
That was a lot of fun to make that one.
And so many familiar faces from that Tim and Eric universe filled in all those, those smaller roles.
Yes.
David Liebhart, I think he was in there with a couple of puppets at one point in that pilot.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He was in there for sure. Actually, my favorite thing that happened in the prep of that was we were auditioning actresses. What was her name? Daisy, I believe, was the his coworker,
the cashier,
blonde woman cashier, exactly. And we had been auditioning actresses, and one day at the office, David Liebhart just showed up with a woman who had just moved to LA, I believe the day before from Salt Lake City or something. And he had been I think he was busking or something on the Santa Monica Pier, and she just walked by and he said, "Hey, you want to be in a TV show? I'll get you in an audition with John C. Reilly." And then he did. She got in his car, or he got in hers or something, and they drove to the office, and we were actually all were there at the moment having a little meeting, and and she was just auditioned on the spot, and she got the part. So
Wow.
the moral of the story, I guess, is just get in strangers' cars.
Yeah. If a guy's got a puppet on a pier, seek him out.
It was so funny.
That's definitely
And
what I
she
took
was-
from that
She
story.
just was great. She
That's
was
what I took.
perfect for the part. It was just like, yeah, that was
Dave, why
fun to do that.
don't you tell them who he's related to?
Well, yes. Allegedly, he and I are distant cousins.
You and David Liebhardt are?
Liebhardt, that is. Yeah. He would.
You sound disappointed.
No. I'm not 100% sure about it, but that it's true. But he talked a lot about his some German or Scottish ancestry, I guess, in Pennsylvania. Speaking of Pennsylvania, and this family that was involved in the Underground Railroad. And then he said a couple things, and I was like, "Who is that family?" And he's like, "Well, the McKeevers," and those are my ancestors.
Wow.
So I think we sprout from the same tree. If that all adds up.
Dave, do you ever find yourself putting one of your hands into some felt and moving your hand around a little bit?
Well, I do have a 1-year-old, so
Okay.
I'm getting into the puppets.
Yeah,
for sure.
could be unrelated. Who knows?
yeah.
You can get into the puppets, but don't really get deep into the puppets. That's where it starts to get weird.
That's a great note.
That's right. That's right.
Well, as I was combing through some of your other credits there, Dave, I noticed that you had, I think you had directed On the Line Online with Jenny Lewis. Is that right?
I was a producer on that one.
How rad is
Um,
Jenny Lewis?
She's great.
Yeah. Holy
Yeah,
cow.
she's so talented and so funny and just very pleasant. It was great working with her.
I saw that and I was like, oh, okay. It looks like it's probably just a 5-minute music video. That's awesome. I'll have to check it out. I click on it, 3.5 hours long, and everybody I've ever heard of in show business is in it.
Yeah, that was a trip. That whole thing came together in like 2 weeks. She and Tim knew each other, and she is a big fan of the Oscar special.
Sure.
So she just kind of said, "Hey, you want to do something like that for my new album?" And yeah, it was cool. We raised a lot of money for the Downtown Women's Shelter in LA, and it was cool. It was just like a totally weird, surreal experience with many of your many classic actors.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, everyone's in it. Yeah, I clicked on it.
Beck
And
was there. It was cool.
I saw Beck, like Jason Schwartzman. Obviously, Tim was there.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum, Vanessa Bayer, just some really awesome people. I will be checking that out. It's on my short list for sure now.
Yeah, it's fun. It was just like a big weird party.
Well, I want to ask you a couple questions about the What the Hell's Going On program, if that's all right. I looked up John it's Finan, right? Who was in it, had a small segment on the show. Now, when I looked him up, I felt like I didn't have a lot of luck getting information on him, or the stuff that I found wasn't very detailed. But I do all the research before, so when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's probably. Once I saw the segment, I was like, that's probably why I couldn't find him. But how did he get involved? And was he like, because he was a U.S. presidential candidate in 2016?
Yeah, it seems like he's like always running for president, like kind of thing. But he's somebody like Tim and I did this election special in 2016. We went to the DNC and the RNC, and Tim just like ran across this dude. He's like walking. He's wearing a suit, and he walked up to Tim because I think Tim had he was live streaming at the time, and this guy comes up to him, and Tim's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm John Finan. I'm running for president under the, whatever his party was.
Yeah.
The APE party. I don't know what it stands for. American Political, whatever it is, thing." And then Tim's like, "Oh, this is pretty interesting." And he kind of latched on to him. And then Tim like exchanged numbers with him.
Wow.
And then over the next few weeks, like Tim was like trying to help him out and trying to get him, like on the debate stage or whatever, and it didn't quite work out, but I kind of stayed in touch with him in a way. He's actually like a long haul trucker. He's just always on the road, and he's just a quirky, like cool weirdo, you know. And
Yeah.
and I mean weirdo in the best of the sense. Like,
Oh, sure.
Like,
He
you know what I
fits,
mean?
he
I'm
fits
not
in
trying
very
to-
well with that universe. Absolutely.
Yeah. And we kind of just stayed in touch with him, and then as we're, you know, brainstorming for the show, like what's it going to be? Like we're going to have correspondence that we'll check in with, and he's, you know, right at the top of the list of somebody who's always on the go, and he's in a different part of the country, you know, every week. And
And it looks like
you know, why not
he
get-
shot his own stuff too. Is that right?
yeah, I think he
Yeah.
sent in a camera and a microphone or whatever we gave him, and he shot his own stuff. Yeah.
So okay, so my other questions about him was like, I feel like you may have kind of answered it in there. Was like steel a big issue that he hung his hat on, and was he local to the Bethlehem area, or would he have been like? It sounds like he may have been used off and on as a correspondent had the show continued.
Yeah, he would.
plan.
Yeah, he would have. He was. I think he's based in New York, but
Okay.
yeah, yeah, Dave. I mean, you might remember better. Like, it's just. I think it just happened to be that he was in Bethlehem at the time we asked him to film that, right?
There was some. I think that. I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong, Vic, but it seemed like the Sands Hotel and Casino, which now exists in the sort of ruins, you know, the Bethlehem steel plant, felt like a big, like there were like a lot of big rig drivers who were there. So it just sort of seemed like, at least when we were shooting, it seemed like that's you know, he probably passes through that area pretty frequently. And I think when we had reached out to him, he was just like, "Oh, I'll be there in a week," or something. There was just something kind of perfect with how it worked out. So
Right.
yeah,
Wow.
the producer Brendan
it was
sent him
Super
a
Bowl
camera,
Sunday.
and yeah, that's right. It was super. And then yeah, he sent us footage.
Yeah, a guy who's
and,
constantly on the road like that and would have a camera that yeah, you can't, like, it takes care of itself, you know, like he's out there producing this material for you. That would have been great. I would have loved to seen him pop up with his 10-gallon hat, you know, shooting his own stuff from time to time. That would have been awesome.
Oh yeah, and he,
You know,
he had his girlfriend with him too. Like that's who was like. And there's one scene where he's like doing the honk honk, you know, kind of like the motion, and his girlfriend's in the truck pulling the horn sound.
Yes, okay, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
He also sent us when there was some more momentum, and it felt like the show was maybe like on the cusp of happening. I remember at one point he just kind of, you know, it wasn't asked for or anything, but I forget what it was. He sent us like a video of footage. I think he was at like the world's largest pistachio or something.
That's what it was. Yeah,
it was some kind of nut or legume or something, but like this giant, I think, sculpture of a nut. And he was reporting on that, which was pretty great. We were, you know, really hoping to get that on television.
I could definitely
didn't quite work out, sadly.
I could definitely see in the future, like he does a correspondence about lot lizards in like a truck stop.
Yeah,
that I mean, definitely like reporting on the lot lizard problem. You know,
right. It's
there's an infinite amount of you know, of things for him to talk about.
Oh yeah, I mean he could have had his own, you know, spin-off totally.
Vic, was this a pilot? Was this totally your idea, and you brought Dave to come in and help write it, or did you guys craft this from whole cloth together? Where did the roots start for this?
I think like Tim, you know, was like early on, you know, trying to get me out there, you know, on TV in some form, and like he and I like talked, and we didn't really have a real plan, but it's mainly just like I'm gonna go out there and talk to people, and you know, we'll kind of like in the way the election specials were made, which there's very little planning. It was kind of just on the go, and it was just like we'll make it up as we go, and maybe something will work, and maybe there's a storyline in here, and then we'll kind of, you know, fix it in editing. But thankfully, Dave stepped in and you know, made it what it is, and I think, like, you know, just with his experience working with Nathan for You, and with Brendan Garrity coming in too, who's able to has this natural talent of finding cool people out there, that will help a storyline along, or the certain type of person. He's just like very good at finding those people, and I think like, and another huge part of it was like I have no experience interviewing people, talking to people, acting, anything like that. Like I just have no experience, and I don't really even have a desire to do it. Tim kind of was just like, just go out in front of the camera, just do it, just go, and I would have, obviously, if the show had happened, I would have gotten a lot better at it. But Dave is very good at working with someone with as little talent in that department as I had. That he was.
You had lots of talent.
Yeah. Thanks. See, he's doing it. He's building up my confidence again.
Well, I'll add to what Dave was saying too by saying if that's the case where you don't have a lot of experience doing that, I think when you're on the screen and you're genuinely talking to people about the steel industry and what's happening, that's a big part of it. You are coming off as a genuine person who's inquiring about these things. You're not coming off as someone who's playing a joke or being mean. You come across very earnest, and I think that's a huge component to this pilot.
Well, yeah,
that was huge. That was a huge sort of like North Star for us for the whole thing, because early on, when I first met with Tim and Dave Kneebone at Absolutely about this, I think before he even introduced Vic and I, he had mentioned kind of as a reference Louis Theroux's Weird Weekends. I don't know if you've ever seen that show.
Was that a local thing, or?
I think it was BBC. It was basically him like kind of putzing around America, and it was this week I'm at the Demolition Derby. This week I don't know, in the Everglades looking for the fucking, what is it, skunk ape or whatever,
Right.
So he had this sort of, he was just so earnest, and he just could really like drop into any situation he found himself in. And Vic is that type. Like, as soon as we met, that kind of shone through. And Vic too, he's just very friendly, sometimes to a fault, and I think we didn't set out to make one of these shows. The political climate at the time was like absolute chaos and terrifying.
Right.
But we weren't setting out to, we hoped that a lot of that sort of satire would just come across in the absurdity and the sort of irony of the situations and the edits. We weren't setting out purposefully to make anyone, look dumb or, we just
right, because
I was confusion was everywhere.
Yeah, like I was also the butt of the joke. It wasn't just me like look at these idiots or whatever. I also am an idiot. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's when we got into the edit. Sean Bradley, who was kind of the lead editor on this, who brought so much shape to this thing. He had grown up with Vic actually, so he knew him well. But we had so much fun, just like digitally zooming on like Vic gulping or nervously in his chair. Like, it just once it clicked, like, oh, this is part of the fabric of this show.
It has to be, right?
Right.
It felt like we were watching a Vic Berger political video, except this time Vic is in it and asking questions. The same editing style, whether it's you rubbing your eyes and Trump kind of like zooming in on your face, like. The editing the editing and you, Vic, are the star of this show. Editing is a character in this pilot, I would say.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Sure, yeah.
It was, it just wouldn't make sense to make a show about and starring Vic without that aesthetic,
Right.
Well, I want to ask about how you land. Obviously, what the hell is going on with Vic Berger? It would have been a different theme every week if it had gone forward, and you started and unfortunately ended with Steel. But was that like, since you were from that area, was that a no-brainer for you? Was it like a passion of yours, or it seemed like a natural place to start with Steel?
Yeah, I mean, it was just a normal, part of growing up that there's the steel plant, there it is, and all your neighbors are former steel workers or or you know somebody that that works in the steel. And we call it the steel. Like that was the thing I had to remember. Like when we're filming that, you don't just say the steel because like most people around the country don't know what you're referring to. And I still do that, and I pronounce Bethlehem, and I had to kind of concentrate because that's just like locally that's how we say it, Bethlehem. So I had to kind of remember that as we're filming. But it was just just part of like I didn't have any family members really that worked there. I mean, I had distant relatives that may have over the years, but it's just it was just like kind of who I am, and I just think it made sense because I was also living there still at the time. It's my dad was there, of course, he's still there, and it just kind of made more sense to film there and find something that's that is part of my life. And obviously we would have we had a ton of ideas that we would have loved to do, and I think economically it made more sense too, just to kind of just start there and then see where it goes.
Yeah, I think good place than any to start.
Practical matter
For sure.
Totally.
So would you call this your Roger and Me?
I mean, why not? Sure, I'll do that. Yeah, there's no bunnies in it or anything. Is that
jeez. Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's the first thing that always pops in my head when I think of that movie.
The Roger and Me, for people who are on it, it's the Michael Moore documentary about when I think the auto industry left Flint, Michigan. And the scene you're talking about is a woman who is trying to make extra money on the side by raising and then slaughtering bunnies, sometimes on camera for us to see. Rough stuff.
That's shocking. Yeah.
Michael Moore getting to the heart of the problem.
Right. The first couple of minutes, she's like being interviewed, and she's like petting the bunny that she's about to slaughter. It was like horrible.
That was rough.
Yeah.
Well, when you're out there doing these man on the street shoots, I don't have a lot of experience in this. How many people do you have with you? You got a camera guy, you got a sound guy. Dave, are you out there directing? Are you doing one of those operations?
Yeah, this was a very, very small, scrappy sort of punk rock operation. It was Vic and myself and 6 other people total in this iteration of the pilot on set. And it was pretty low budget, and it's amazing that anyone sort of supported something as left of the dial as Vic stuff, to try and get it on TV. But it wasn't. We didn't have a huge budget to work with, which was fine because it just it sort of allowed us some flexibility of jumping around that town pretty quickly. But yeah, it was myself, Brendan the producer, Jared the DP, Marilyn who was PAing, Rob a camera guy, and who was it? Dan I think was the AC. We had a sound guy, Jalen, and then Isaac, and it was 7 of us total. I mean, it was a really small thing.
A tight motley crew. Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right.
If this had gone on, obviously, like I had mentioned, I assume you're going to have different topics each week, and Vic, you'd go around and talk to people, and it sounds like honestly it'd be a lot of fun. I really wish this is one of the ones that had gone on to make more episodes. But do you guys know? Was there ever a reason given why this wasn't given a life to go forward?
Well, it was interesting that it was, it was a long kind of winding road, but when we first made this, there was sort of a number of issues. It felt at first like the execs we were working with were really great, and they really kind of saw what we were going for and could have done with a bigger, a more professional shoot. And they were really supportive, and there felt for a long time like this was really going to happen, to the point where eventually, they commissioned some pickup shoots for a different version of the pilot, which is a whole other pilot, basically.
Real quick, it was basically the basic storyline of the pilot that is out, but in between the interstitials are me taking calls from people and it kind of like a call-in show kind of thing.
Okay, interesting.
So
almost
yeah.
like the aesthetic a little bit of office hours now.
Right.
You were at a desk, people would kind of Skype in or whatever at the time.
Yeah, the Zooms. Yeah.
And then those interviews would be edited, too, like in
Yeah.
our style,
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that was kind of Pilot 2.0, and that was the idea of someone at TBS. Our execs had kind of ran the idea up to, where he said, "Yeah, it's great. Could we add a live element?" Which was an interesting challenge to kind of incorporate that, but we did, and that was also fun. The version you have seen. Well, basically, to answer your question, it also got tied up in this like AT&T and Time Warner were about to merge, I think, when we first were going to do this.
Right.
And then Trump, because he was mad at CNN, tried to like delay that merger, or did successfully delay that merger. He was trying to get the Justice Department involved. So suddenly there were all these networks who all of a sudden didn't know how much money they were going to have. It was sort of like the whole thing was like plunged into fucking chaos for many people at these networks. So I think it was a little bit that was the situation. And ultimately, I think someone at TBS saw it and just said, just was like, what is this? This is too weird for TV,
Right.
Which we had hoped wouldn't be the case, but
well, TBS based in Atlanta, right? At the headquarters is down in Atlanta, and they own.
I think so. Yeah.
They own Cartoon Network. Is that right? Because it's all.
They're all Turner.
That's Turner was the name I was thinking of. Ted Turner.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So would this have been on? Ideally, had it gone forward, would it have been on like an Adult Swim or a Comedy Central, anything like that? Okay.
This actually, it would have been on TBS, and at one point they talked about putting it on right after Samantha Bee, which I think is why they kind of wanted an aspect that would kind of feel natural in a way of with the call-in thing where I'd be at a desk because she's kind of talking to the camera kind of thing. I think that's kind of why they wanted to rework the pilot. But yeah, it would have been on TBS and but
I'm sorry. Did you say that they would have played it more like a late night show, like a talk show kind of thing? So
yeah.
So the meat of I'm sorry, go ahead.
A little bit.
So the meat of the show would have been the meat of the show, as far as I could see, was all the fun stuff, you being out on the street. But that feels more like a 2-minute segment on a regular late night talk show. So they were trying to just really reform the whole thing with that call-in segment, big time.
Yeah, and I think ultimately how it panned out for us was it was about 50-50 in that version. This is not the version that's on YouTube. So there was Pilot 1.0, which was just Vic, man on the street centric, and Vic in his actual house in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Then 2.0, was about 50-50. We kept most of the man on the street stuff. It was just longer. I think it was like 20 something minutes long, or it was just a little closer. I don't think there was
correspondence, right? There's no Finan in that, right?
No, that is actually where Finan came from. Was the 2.0. It was we did Finan and Brandon Harris, the CEO of Jazzercise. They came out of the 2.0, and then we ultimately, when the show didn't pan out, we still loved it, and we shopped it around at some other places, and unfortunately it didn't quite work out. But the version we put up on YouTube, we call kind of 3.0, which is it's essentially the original pilot, but we kept these two. We kept the correspondence stuff that had come out of 2.0.
That's right.
And we're really happy with
Frankenstein kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well,
and there were great gems in the second iteration. Like Tim is really good in the second version of the pilot, and there's some fun songs and stuff. But to keep it cohesive.
In there. Yeah, if you know Nick Lutzko, he's a genius songwriter, performer, musician guy, and like we had him do the interstitial music, and he, like if you remember the John Finan song, right before he did that, for the 2.0 version, he did a song about the Tim came up with about people that are talking to you about politics and everything online, but they always have a map behind them
Oh, yeah.
And so maybe one day we'll get 2.0 out there because why not? You know.
Yeah, I was just going to ask if that was available to be seen. So it sounds like it's not yet, but I think there would be an audience for that. I think people would definitely click on that if they saw it. I know that I would.
Yeah.
A lot of the audience would be juggalos because there was a really great section with a very sweet juggalo. That was great. So it was about steel and emerald and juggalos.
Right.
Well, I really enjoyed the pilot. I want to say that straight up. There's a lot of times we've done almost 300 episodes, and there's been a lot that's been really bad. Been a handful of gems. For me, this is one of those good ones. This is right up my alley. This is exactly the kind of stuff I like to watch. These are the kind of things that make me literally laugh out loud when I'm watching it. So I do want to applaud both of you in this pilot. I thought it was really funny.
Thank you.
Thanks
so much.
Absolutely. And let me ask you this, both of you individually. What do you guys have coming up next? What are you guys working on? What can we keep an eye out for?
Well, I have something brewing that I can't really talk about at this stage.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. I
So
understand.
that's pretty exciting for your listeners there. But in addition to that mystery thing, there's I'm just basically, a lot of last year for me was developing. So Vic and I actually together have a narrative show that we're kind of gearing up to pitch. So we were working on that, and then my wife and I, she's a writer, we have a show that we're about to take out to pitch. So so just hitting that circuit, I guess, in the next couple months.
Well, I'll be keeping an eye out, Dave, because seriously, when I was going through your filmography there and seeing everything you've been involved with, again, these are all things that I've really enjoyed over the past 10, 15 years. So anything you're involved with, honestly, sign me up. I'm going to be taking a look at it. And I know you can't mention that right now, and that's totally fine, but I'll be keeping my eyes open. Vic, I see you every week on Office Hours. What else do you got going on? Is there anything that you're working on? You said the Drop Concert Part 2?
Yeah, Drop Concert Part 2. I'm also in the middle of a series for Vice News, but it's a Vice News online, I guess it would be. I don't think it's going to air on TV, but it's a series on grifters con men and people like that. And the pilot episode is just about wrapped up, and it's about. It's kind of like me doing what I normally do, but it's about MAGA grifters after MAGA, and kind of just seeing. It's a huge collage of them, kind of seeing what they were up to before, and then what they were up to after and nowadays. And now I just learned that they want to pick it up for a series, maybe a 6 to 8 episode kind of thing, and it won't all be MAGA people, of course, but it'll be.
That's a great idea for a series. Grifting, that's really interesting. What platform will that be on? Do you know?
That'll, as far as I know, it'll be kind of like YouTube and online.
On Vice's website.
On all the social media and everything. And I did that I'm working with Ben Crawl, who I worked on this big Trump mashup thing that we did right before the election. So it should. I think people are going to really like it. And then I'm likely going to be working on a reality show for Netflix, and that's coming up pretty soon. And so that's in the works. And then stuff with Dave, and hopefully Dave and I'll get something sold. And I really ultimately want to move on from what I've done before and advance what Dave and I have created. And I think I love working with Dave, so hopefully we can make something happen soon.
That is
Worst
great
case,
to hear.
Maybe we can get you guys another failed pilot.
Right. We want to get another episode for you guys.
And I'm not even gonna say that's the best case scenario for us, because the best case scenario for me is we get to seriously. I feel like I'm kissing your ass here, but the best case is that you guys keep being successful and we get to watch the things you guys make, because there's plenty of failed pilots out there.
Yeah, we don't need help.
We're covered there. You guys just go on to the success you've already had. So I'm excited for both of you. You guys are awesome content creators, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with next.
Have you guys covered the Mark Prosh pilot with Jason Wallner, like the morning show? Have you seen that?
I don't think
Oh
so.
my god! Oh, I will send you that. That's I like.
What is that,
cried
Terry,
laughing.
right?
I forget what it's called, but it's a morning. It's like a morning show and like a local news show kind of thing, and it's just there's so many funny things in that.
I'll have to keep
I'll
an eye
send it
out.
to you.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah,
That would be
maybe that's
great.
your next episode. Yeah.
I'd love to talk to Mark too. I've
Yeah.
listened to a lot of like Brendan Walsh's The Bone Zone.
Yeah.
Phenomenal podcast. Mark was on that a bunch. Obviously, he's on Cinema and The Office, and he was on. But I don't think he was on Better Call Saul. Breaking Bad. Like Mark is incredible. I'd love to talk to him too, and I would really love to see that pilot. So yeah, if you can send me that link,
Awesome.
we'll eat it up.
Yeah. Oh, Brendan Walsh and I are talking about we're really into visors these days, like wearing visors. So we're talking about doing something. I don't know exactly what based around that, but yeah. Since you brought Brendan up,
I listened to his World Record podcast, and he does some really awesome videos
oh,
online.
I
for
know
that too.
him and Amanda are great.
Yes, yeah, I love Rymanda. She's great. But yeah, he's always wearing a visor on there lately too. So that's really funny that like the visor is going beyond those videos, and it has a
Right,
life
the
with Vic
viral
Berger.
visor.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll let you guys go. I really do appreciate it. It's been a real treat for me personally to talk to both of you. And again, just thank you so much. We love the pilot, and continued success to both of you.
Awesome.
Thanks
you
so
much,
much.
guys.
Thanks for having us.
All right, Dave, Vic,
Yeah, it's
take
fun.
care.
Take care, guys.
All right, take care.
Yes, you too.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Goodbye.
Holy cow.
Amazing.
A few weeks ago, we did Badlands 2005, and we talked to the writer and essentially the creator of that pilot, Ruben Leader. What a great interview that was. I put this right up there with Dave Page and Vic Berger, two young guys actively working in show business and creating really funny, quality content. And we got to talk to them for an hour.
Yeah, and
really cool guys.
And they were like involved the whole time. There was no like, oh, I'm got to answer.
Yeah.
They were trying to get done. They were having a good time. They were having a good time.
Hopefully that's a testament to our quality questions.
Your
and involvement.
your quality.
Wow.
You were the baller on this one.
I was excited to do that. Very psyched to get the actual stars, creators, and director and producer. All within two men, they encompass all those different hats for this pilot. Rarity that we get to talk to them directly, but spoiler alert for me, a quality pilot and a really cool guest to have on the show. I was very excited and very happy to talk to them.
Let's go ahead and put them on the Wall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Seriously,
Without a doubt, Vic Berger, Dave Page, take your place on the Couch Pilots Hall of Fame while we put 10 minutes on the clock and we'll discuss in depth the pilot of what the hell is going on with Vic Berger. We'll go ahead and start by saying it says tonight, and you got an intro with Donald Trump talking about building a wall and steel, and a bunch of quick cuts of different political figures talking about steel. Basically, the show, What the Hell's Going On with Vic Berger, would be a man on the street looking for genuine information. This episode happens to be about steel, and consequentially, so because he's from an area that was a big steel community.
Right, and so when you're watching this version, and like you said, during the interview, we found out that we watched a version 3.0. There's two versions of this beforehand.
Right.
And so right off the bat, there's no title screen, there's no intro.
It gets right into it.
It's right into it, and there's a style of cuts here that either people like or don't like. You know what I mean? There's a lot.
There's like a signature kind of post production.
Yes.
Here.
And
Yeah.
so
It's a lot of quick cuts. It's a lot of color manipulation, zooming in, zooming out, almost like an enhancement at points of certain sound effects or adding of sound effects.
Right.
If I may, I think the charm of it for me, and actually I'm stealing this from an article that I read, but it's intentionally not so slick editing.
Sure, for sure.
It's almost like a third grader did a video editing project,
Which is not an insult.
No.
Yep.
It's intentional, but it adds a layer of, I don't know, just comedy, humor. When
we
done.
talked to Vic, we were saying how kind of his gateway into this business was tapping into Tim Heidecker's comic sensibility, and that lays heavily on the the late night VHS. I can't remember the name, like local programming. What's that called when you have
I know what
Public
you're saying.
access?
Yeah, public access.
That's
Thank
exactly
you.
right. Public
Yes.
access. That's exactly right. He taps in that perfectly and purposefully.
Yeah, there's almost like this blend of nostalgia, but also like very, I don't know, I don't want to disparage it, but just very rude or crude, kind of like cutting up of
It keeps your head moving, your mind moving the whole time.
for sure.
Something else we mentioned to Vic and Dave when we were talking to him is that there's really two kind of main characters in this pilot. Obviously, one is Vic, because he's the human being going around and talking to everyone. And the other main character is the editing.
Sure.
And I think they kind of agreed when I said that. So
I think they said, "Oh, holy Jason, you are correct." I think.
Yeah,
is what
yeah,
they said. If I can quote
I think,
loosely.
please do. Anyway, Vic talks to the camera from his home, it turns out, investigating steel in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And it seems to be filmed in his home, and there's some interruption by his family. And all of that's, again, very purposefully kept in.
Right.
And it gives it that really kind of stripped down mom and pop. Vic is a genuine human being, an earnest human being.
And the makeup. There's no makeup artist. There's no hairstylist. It's just it's Vic sitting on his couch saying, "Hey, what happened to steel in my town?"
Well, it turns out in 1998, the local steel mill in Bethlehem was closed down, and at one point had employed, he said, 30,000 people. And it was closed by a man who, at the time of the creation of this pilot, although it was released in 2020, was actually made in 2017. But at that time, the man who closed down that plant was the Secretary of Commerce under Mr. T, as they were calling President Trump.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It was closed down by this guy. When the footage we've seen is how Trump is saying we're going to get steel back.
That's right. Yeah.
I just want to make that known.
It's a lot of hypocrisy, a lot of contrarian statements are being made for sure.
That's right.
And they're pointing that out through their editing. And they also go on to say that the Sands Hotel and Casino are now largely in the place of that old steel mill.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I found that interesting that like they built this casino hotel within the structure.
That's what I was. I'm
That
so
was
glad you said that.
It was so crazy that's how.
Either I watched it too fast or didn't pay attention close enough that it sounded to me like this was within the same structure
Sure. Yeah.
that they originally had the steel mill.
Right.
Well, at one point, we'll get to it in a second here, but John Finan, who was apparently a former, we talked to Vic and Dave about a former U.S. presidential candidate, and they say he runs often, but I think they're mainly focused on his 2016 platform here. He's doing some self-videoing, and I think at one point he kind of shows in one clear shot the old ruins of stadiums and steel mill, pans over, and you see the Sands Hotel and Casino.
Yeah.
It is very bizarre that they chose that same area in Bethlehem,
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
like, oh, hey, town that we basically crippled by closing you down. Come to our casino.
That's right.
You can still hang out around it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
In the same breath, too, we can talk about, as we mentioned in the interview, Roger and Me, Michael Moore's documentary about the closing of auto plants in Flint, Michigan, how that decimated a town, or even more locally here, how a place like Maytag closed in Galesburg.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
And absolutely shut that town down.
Yeah, that town is just a fucking hot mess.
If you go to Galesburg now, it is a very
shithole.
sad state of affairs there. And you know what? No company, I think, is beholden to steal a word from you earlier, Matt, to necessarily a town. Companies got to do what they have to do for themselves, but there can be a wake left in their path. And, and Galesburg and Flint are great examples of that, and maybe even Bethlehem.
And can you not say that in a way, East Peoria is has been fractured as well with Caterpillar going away. Caterpillar, my grandfather came on a bus from Arkansas to come and work at Caterpillar. Essentially, Caterpillar was East Peoria.
Right.
And I remember when we played baseball, Little League Baseball stopped for 2 weeks in the middle of summer because it was Caterpillar vacation.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
So a lot of things revolved around Caterpillar
everything
and
did,
vacations
and now
shit.
it's
Yeah.
not. It's not. It doesn't have that footprint. And I think there's a lot of East Peoria that is not what it was because it has been fractioned
I
out.
think the overarching thing that we're talking about here, though, is that these companies, these corporations, build a relationship with the communities that they're involved in.
They basically make communities when they pick a spot. They make communities by bringing
People
people
will
in.
come there for the jobs they offer.
Absolutely.
And the bottoms were built for employees.
The East Peoria Bottoms.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's right. Yep.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, that's fair to say. We can't separate one from the other, right?
Yep.
Vic goes to a local university. He really is kind of a man who not only grew up there and experienced kind of the loss of the steel mill, but he's getting in the community. He wants to talk to people about what the loss of steel has meant to that community, as well as if it is coming back. So he goes
Because
to
Donald Trump at the beginning of this says we're bringing steel back.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's
the focal
ultimately
point
that's
of-
the promise
Yeah.
of Donald
Yes.
Trump
Yeah.
is like,
But someone on his cabinet was actively involved
In
shutting
it
down
down.
this plan.
Yeah.
That's
Sure.
right. Yep.
So Vic goes to a local university to talk to a professor about steel and steel jobs, and he kind of says, "Will they come back?" And immediately the edit is, "Steel jobs are not coming
Yeah,
back."
yeah.
And it's all automated, and then it kind of devolves into a series of Emeril Lagasse cuts of him saying "Bam,"
Yeah.
because his catchphrase "Bam" with Sammy Hagar.
Oh yeah, I remember that was obviously tasting Sammy Hagar's vodka or tequila.
Cabo
or
Wabo, baby.
Cabo Wabo.
That's
Wabo.
right. So Vic says it would be fun to work at a steel mill, and the professor goes on about how dangerous it was.
Right.
There are so many like quick, funny cuts and edits, close-ups, zoom-ins, and sound effects to complement everything that is being said and done.
Yeah,
And that was so true. I'm sorry, but go
No,
ahead.
I'm just saying if you're taking notes like we usually do on this, you can't keep up with this to describe every one of them.
I found myself specifically with this pilot pausing every 30 to 60 seconds. This is a 20-minute pilot. It probably took me about 35, 40 minutes to watch it from all the notes and pausing I had to do. But I was happy to do so.
Right, but I'm just trying to express the fact that like, hey,
Yeah.
this has your attention the whole time. Stuff is happening the whole time. We watch a lot of pilots where I can write like 2 or 3 sentences and then look back up at the screen and I didn't miss anything.
Back in the 60s and 70s, things moved a little slower. Scenes can meander. In modern day shows, you're really talking about 90 seconds to 2.5 minutes a scene, maybe. And this says, we got 20 minutes. Let's sprint to the finish line.
It was like that. There's so much nuance, and he was so true in this particular pilot. If you go out to his website or go out to his YouTube channel, this is the same kind of cutting.
Oh, yeah.
It's a zoom in on the character. It's extracting like verbals and nonverbals even, and then it's just adding this layer of like post production. And
I mentioned that
editing.
during the interview. I said
Yes.
this is like Vic. I said, Vic, this is like taking a lot of your old fun political videos that you had done,
Yes.
but instead we were injecting you in there.
Yes.
and giving kind of an overarching theme. In this case, being steel.
And every shot of Vic during this is a guy, it's not a buffoon, but a guy that is honestly just like, I'm going to ask a question and then just sit back with no expression and like listen to the answers. Like he honestly like is paying attention, but like I don't think there's a lot of passion in his like facial expressions, but there's just like I honestly want to know about this stuff, and then he's just a normal guy look. You know what I mean? Like
Not to keep hearkening back to the interview, but it's kind of like saying this is
Stop hearkening back to the interview.
I'm a hearkener. You knew that day one
he
when I came on the
hearkens.
podcast. Thank you. I hearken.
He hearkens.
People have already hearkened for an hour listening to this interview. No.
It's just that Vic comes across as a very genuine and earnest everyman, at times self-deprecating, but never like an instigator of irony or anger or sarcasm.
No,
No.
If anything, he leans on his kind of nonverbals, like especially when he's sitting down with the professor. It's just like cuts to him just like either absorbing what the professor's saying or just like looking like he's just off in another distant.
But that's editing too.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
This is 1,000% leaning on the editing styles
Yeah.
of Vic Berger.
Right.
So are we seeing what he actually thought and felt and responded to a certain question? Who the hell knows?
Right.
Yeah.
We are slaves.
You should have asked him on the interview.
I don't know. We're slaves to what we saw and virtually, or eventually, what was done in the editing room. But the next segment is John Finan, former U.S. president candidate, and I put trucker, but we kind of confirmed in the interview that he was a trucker, and this is Finan's Findins.
Yeah.
So basically, sending
It's
this
a segment like a let's
roving reporter.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Another man on the street, and someone they said who was actually a trucker, and I thought that was cool. Like if this guy's all over the country, has a camera with him, he can be anywhere and shoot a bunch of different stuff. How much does that save you in production costs
for
from
sure.
traveling?
Yeah.
You have this kind of odd guy
Who's making money going to where you're.
Yep.
Yeah.
just kind of out on the road recording whatever, saying whatever, and then saying, "Hey, Vic, can you use this?"
Yeah.
And they happen to time it perfectly with his time in Bethlehem. He seems to be filming his own segment, and we found that was the case. And he shows the former stadium, the mill, and then the casino. And then Vic then interviews an old guy named Wayne, and he asks him about when Steele is coming back and Emerald's lack of quality hamburgers. There's a lot of fun stuff in this.
Yeah, for sure.
Really well done.
And I'm wondering if that guy had ever had one of Emerald's hamburgers, or he was just.
Well, because what does he say? Quality?
Yeah,
it's his
he
main.
pauses
Yeah.
and he's like, "What? What's the problem with him?" He's like, quality."
Quality.
Yeah.
It's almost like he was just picking something.
General.
Yeah, in general.
So
Yeah,
I got to give him something.
yeah.
The next scene, and again, these scenes are very quick. It's 30 seconds, 90 seconds maybe. We're in a restaurant, and Vic is talking to his real life actual dad. And his dad is. I didn't ask him this in the interview. I thought him at one point. It's like his dad was seemingly giving Vic a lot of shit here about not cutting the grass, how to do CPR using the Bee Gees song "Staying Alive," and then also kind of making fun of Vic's hair.
Yeah.
And seemingly going balding, according to his dad, all while chomping on. What was he chomping on? An English muffin? What was he eating?
I don't recall.
A lemon? He was eating something like that seemed crispy, and the zooms would go in on it and be crunch
Tortilla
sound.
chip or something.
Maybe.
The zooms are good. Yeah.
Then we go to the flea market, and Vic is on a mission here. He wants to find steel workers, people actively working in steel, or maybe people who used to work in steel. He wants answers.
And he's also wanting to find. He wants to make a license plate for his
novelty.
dad.
That's right. Yeah. Wasn't this like grr baby?
Yeah.
He goes, "Isn't this one you use a lot?"
The guy says, "Yes, it is."
Yeah.
Again,
He like turns it sideways and
this is the same as the guy saying he wants a quality
That's
hamburger.
right.
He just
That's
feels
right.
like he has to say something to a guy who's got a camera behind him. Anyway, he talks to some older guys playing slot cars, which may be the saddest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
It is. And like I was into slot cars at like 13 years old. Me and my brother had slot car tracks.
These guys are 60 years old.
Yeah, but this was like way over like what me and my
I
brother
honestly
did.
had never seen it played.
You never seen a slot?
kid you not.
You've never played a slot car track?
No, sir.
Oh my god, there was
I
so
had
much,
one growing up.
Yeah, there was.
Did you really?
Rubber tire,
Yeah.
the rubber tires. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if we
Oh, yeah.
may have had rubber tires.
had to
I
have-
don't
yep,
remember.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
you might be right. We had like a big piece of like I don't know, like 8x4 painted green plywood. My dad had put the track on there, and it was fun for a week. But it's the same track over and over. And you're sitting there holding down a button, making your car go.
Yeah, but these guys are into. They're so into like manipulating the slot car to make it faster.
Yeah, all the little
Stuff you can do to it.
Sure, but they're essentially inside a flea market in like a hobby shop inside there, just pressing buttons, playing the slot cars. And then there's a different guy at the flea market that says if anyone can get the steel going again, it'll be Donald Trump, because Donald Trump makes deals, kind of, and specifically with China.
Yeah.
And then there's an extended bit about a bill that Trump was unhappy about signing. 20 minutes. I bet there's a good 60 to 90 seconds of like Trump
Easy
montages.
Sure.
Especially there in the Oval Office when like the papers are stacked up just
that's
to
the
the left
segment.
of it. That's
See,
the
he's
whole
gonna
segment.
sign this bill, and it's a big fancy
Well, he's
deal.
focusing in like so. There is the she's the CEO. Oh shoot, who is she the CEO of? No, I'm not. It's not going to come back to me. One of the major defense contracts that they have. But anyway, the F-35 is. Forgive me. Anyway, there's a whole cabinet and board of CEOs that he has behind him, and then this huge bill right next to it. Yeah.
He keeps saying how he's not happy with the bill, how he's not going to sign another one like it in the future. And right before he comes up to the podium, there's a couple of like interns or something, or pages, or I don't know what they're called, and they're like moving the podium.
Yeah.
And like
The screech of
Vic
the
really
leg.
cranks
Yeah.
up the sound of them moving the podium across the floor.
It's all starting to run together for me. But does it, meaning the YouTube videos and this, but is he not so one thing he seems to lean on, Vic, that is blowing of this like really high-pitched air horn. Does he do that at all in this? Like, he leans on it hard.
I can't recall it in this here.
It's super funny because it often happens like right at the beginning as people are being introduced. Almost it's like, and they just.
Well, you said you went down a Vic Berger rabbit hole. Did you watch his video where it was like the best of the Clintons and Joe Biden?
Yes, I kid you not. I watched that this
Did you
afternoon.
watch the Clinton part where he's talking about all the police academy movies?
Yes, and
I think I lost my fucking mind.
Hillary Clinton is more than qualified to bring this country more police academy movies.
It was something I think Bill Clinton genuinely said once, and then he like warped it into him like basically crafting his entire speech
beautiful.
around how this country can benefit from more laughter a la Police Academy.
Yes.
And it was the funniest ever.
She will bring, and what's interesting is that I'm sure, I don't even know if he mentions the police academy bit like in that particular speech, but they pan out, and now you're seeing this stage with Clinton on it, and there's this like jumbo screen, and it's playing the police academy.
Yes, it's playing the
super
Police Academy.
good. Super good.
Holy crow, is that funny?
Yeah.
We'll try to get through the rest of this quick. Vic goes and hangs out with the same dude who's talking about making the deals with China. He's hanging out with him at a bar, and another guy starts chiming in about free trade and King Henry. And then they cut to a scene where the guy is squatted down on the ground
with his T-shirt over his knees, walking like he's like showing off like I can do this, It's
waddling
super
like
funny.
a penguin or something.
Yeah.
And Vic is in the back again, completely stone faced, and he says, "Oh, that's really cool."
Yeah. He's stoic. throughout most of this.
That's Nathan Fielder level of like just stoicism. Funny.
Yeah.
And then on to Brandon Harris, the CEO of Jazzercise, which I almost got into at the interview, but I decided not to. Jazzercise, this portion is somewhere between like a commercial for Jazzercise and promoting steel. And I think it's just a way to display, for Vic to display ridiculous products and also talk about steel and kind of a 1-2 punch.
Right.
And can you want to tell us what Jazzercise was, Blake?
It was basically a piece of rubber that it was like kind of folded over, and you put it in your mouth, and you would just kind of chomp on it as like a push up.
And you'd wear it around your neck with a string?
Yeah, it had a potential. Yeah, you had the option of putting it around a string.
It was hard to believe it was real at first, knowing that there were ties to like the Tim and Eric universe. I literally thought that at first, like, no, this is made up.
Well, if we haven't mentioned it enough so far, that obviously seemingly was a real product.
Yeah.
But if you tune in and or subscribe to Office Hours Live with Tim Heidecker every week, Vic Berger is on that show, and they always do a sponsor of the day, which is a made-up product, which is as ridiculous, if not more so, than this Jazzercise. Sure. So you can get comedy bits every Thursday from that podcast, which are very much in line with Jazzercise. Anyway, it's supposed to apparently strengthen your jaw muscles. What we need them stronger for, I do not know. But Vic is back on the streets, and now he's talking to Arlene, who works at the Chocolate Lab, which is a kind of funny name. And he's talking about bringing back steel, and she's completely over the loss of steel in the community and laughs her way to free chocolate.
Oh,
for
yeah,
Vic.
she is a chuckler. She is definitely a chuckler.
Too funny.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Then he talks to some lady joggers who think steel is done in Bethlehem, and a folk rock trio willing to play at the grand reopening
Of the steel mill.
That's right.
if that were to happen. And I think it probably will. And then finally, Vic talks to a former steel worker, Bob Holly, and not Bob Sparkplug Holly, who would go on to be Hardcore Holly in the WWF, but a man just named Robert Holly.
Right, and he's basically talking about how dangerous it was, and like he's like they're watching a video of like them melting this,
Yeah, he says this is crazy dangerous, and I have a video of me doing it.
Yeah.
So they show that video, and then a little wrap up at the end with Vic kind of pondering what he's learned, and of course singing some karaoke.
His true love or his true passion or something like that. Yeah.
I can't wait to find my true passion.
Seated as we are now
Yep,
crossing
it's
is on.
podcasting with your best friend.
Is that it? Have I reached it? This is it.
This is your zenith.
This is the mecca of.
This is it. This is
This is as good as it's
When
going
you,
to get.
when you
This
put
is
it
my
that way,
life?
when you put it that way,
Oh man.
It's my life. It's now or never. I don't want to live forever. Who else hates John Bon Jovi?
I love him.
I hate him. I hate
He
John.
works in a soup kitchen.
Bon Jovi.
Who doesn't?
Matt, why did not this show work? What was wrong with what the hell's going on with Vic Berger, I ask?
So I'll bury my lead a little bit here, because maybe save it for the scoring part. But my thesis is that we are so Steel. It absolutely wrecked a community. Should be in the national conscience, especially when it's touted by our, Oval Office and the president,
T.
the powers, Mr. T himself. That all being said, I think as far as, and this will get an eye roll, but I think as far as like countries go, ours is a teenager compared to our neighbors across the pond or in Europe that are a couple millennia old. We have a national attention span of about 30 seconds. And if it's not talking about
Quick to forget our past.
so quick to forget, but what does our national attention span gravitate towards? It's
TikTok.
That's
I love
it.
TikTok.
It's it.
Blake, you love TikTok, bro?
I don't have an account.
It's the truth.
watching TikTok, bro.
It needs to be 30 seconds or less. And this
Vine
honestly-
said videos need to be 7 seconds or less,
Yeah.
right?
It's like this is packaging an important, heavy issue, and kind of like, hey, here's a vehicle for it, and to hopefully elevate the subject, raise the level of debate maybe through an odd means, but I just don't think it gets there. I don't.
So you're saying that potentially something wrong with this program is it's taking a heavy issue and not handling it appropriately?
I think it handles it the best it can. I think it's trying to find some middle ground. And it's like, oh, why don't we package it with comedy? Why don't we bring it in and try to get folks to engage with it through you invoked Michael Moore earlier.
Yeah, to me it rang very, and I think they got a chuckle out of it too when I mentioned it was Roger. Do you know Roger and Me? You ever see that? It's where Michael Moore goes to Flint and sees the devastation that the loss of the auto
So I
industry.
did see that. I just didn't know by that name. But yes. But I think that's kind of my take, is that even though they've taken it and tried to find some middle ground and tried to introduce it, get America to take the pill, so to speak, with comedy, I don't think they take it. They just digest it quick and move on to the next TikTok video. And that's my cynical view.
So you're saying at the end of it, the people that were watching it didn't stop and go,
Oh my gosh.
and think about it. They just went on to,
You bet. We got hit with the next thing. We're a teenager.
Watching a cat climb a porch screen.
That's right.
There's something to be said about laughing at a funeral too, though, right? Like the heaviness of a situation, the seriousness.
Well, that's fair. Yeah.
Where it's just like, yes, it's very clear that Bethlehem was rocked by the loss of this industry. And maybe if I zoom in on my face a bunch, people will kind of laugh it off and say, you know what? What's this show really going to? Is this show going to bring back Steel? Of course not.
Right.
But maybe we can talk to a few people and have a few laughs along the way.
Yeah.
Blake, what about this pilot? Do you think needed to repair or didn't work for you?
Yeah, well, when you first got here and we were talking about it, I said I just felt like I changed the channel and was in the middle of something going on. I didn't have a start, I guess.
There's no segue.
No. And so,
Boom, you're in the mix.
yeah, I pushed the button and all of a sudden I had to start processing. And I found out afterwards that, that's the third version of it that's been edited. So, I got to take that back. I think you're right, Matt, that we are in a society where people, there is a problem that happened and they're like, oh, 30 13 years ago, this town went to shit. And everybody's like, oh, 13 years ago? Who cares?
Yeah.
I don't have to protest for it
I don't
now.
know what. Yeah,
I don't have to protest for it now because it's not happening right now.
that's right.
It's already happened.
It didn't happen 13 minutes ago.
Right. Yeah. And so, I was intrigued by the subject matter because my personal involvement in ordering steel and trying to get steel at this current time.
In the job that you do.
In the job that I do. And no, 'cause I just buy steel. It's not my job. I just buy steel. No, but it's relevant. It is not like they're not talking about a subject that is not relevant. It is relevant right now. You cannot buy steel, and you're gonna have to wait a long time for it. So it's crazy that this was made in 2017, and in 2021, this is a relevant issue. Yep. But for people, they all they hear is this plant closed down X amount of years ago.
Yep. And
they're not standing up and going, well, that doesn't make any sense. So I guess to answer your question, the only thing I found wrong about it was that our society doesn't pay attention long enough, and 2, I turned it on and I was in the middle of it, and I was disoriented at the beginning.
You guys might be taking it a step further than I am, because when I see it, I see a man who is, again, I don't want to beat this in the ground, but seemingly very genuine, a common human being, being very earnest, going out into the world and just asking questions that a common person may ask about what's going on with the current situation.
But why didn't it work?
That's
the question at hand.
We got a little bit of that answer during the interview.
Are you hindering back to the interview?
I hearken so much.
Oh, hearken.
An unbelievable amount of hearkening in this episode.
Matt, just to let you know, he fanboyed out like a motherfucker, but it was worth it.
Was it bad?
No, it wasn't. I'm just fucking with you.
During the interview, they said that they were thinking about making this kind of like a late night talk show for a TBS. To me, if this is your editing style, which I personally enjoy, which I think it's fun, this doesn't exist as a late night talk show on a TBS.
Yep.
A TBS is it's a cable channel, sure, but it's very broad. And as we even speak now, things are being so fractured amongst streaming services that networks and cable channels are seemingly of no consequence anymore. But if you put it somewhere, this can only be on Adult Swim.
Yeah.
This can only be
not.
there.
And how many times have we said that in the past?
It's Comedy Central all day long. Yeah.
This can only maybe Comedy Central, but for me, with the wildness and the precedent that Comedy or Adult Swim is set with things in the many projects they've worked on with Tim and Eric, and the editing styles that are so similar, this can only go there. And you know what? This was 20-minute pilot. Sometimes when you watch Tim and Eric, awesome show, great job. That's an 11-minute punch to your face. You're being punched like a hanging punching bag, like a boxer hits. You're being beat about the head for 11 minutes, and when it's over, you're praying to the gods of being punched in the face and thankful that it's over.
Right.
Okay, because it's that funny. But I could watch a half hour of this.
Yeah.
I could see this on Comedy, or not Comedy Central, but more likely Adult Swim for a half hour.
Yeah.
Adult Swim hangs their hats on 15-minute shows, but they do have a few that are half hour. There's no reason this can't be that. TBS, while they do own Cartoon Network and Adult Swim, this can't be on TBS.
Yeah.
This is a show that is so obscure and not in its content, but in its editing style, that it has to be a late night Adult Swim edition.
Yeah.
So maybe they were barking up the wrong tree, or maybe they were trying to put it in the wrong spot. Some of the other iterations that they had mentioned were that they're going to take live phone calls or make it more of a late night talk show format. I don't think that's right. Vic Berger said himself he wasn't experienced as a man on the street or an actor. He had no aspirations to do so. But what we saw, I think, was more than enough and good. I liked Vic in this role, but make it a purely pre-taped man on the street, searching out information. Make it 22 minutes, throw in some commercials on Adult Swim, and put it on that channel. Yeah. I think there's a lot to be mined there.
Yeah, I would have some pause with you mentioned like the live element of a call in, or
that's some notes from the executives that they had to go back and retool to add in to appease them, and obviously it didn't work out ultimately.
Right.
Anyway, those are our thoughts.
Ooh.
I'm sure there's probably other thoughts out there.
I felt like it was heated in a way.
I was getting very angry.
No, but it's passionate, I guess.
Sure.
probably the most passionate we've been in a long time.
I've got a text here that says, "Can we break at the interview?" Do you still need to do that?
Fuck me, right?
Yeah, fuck you. He invites. He wants people to say that to him. I don't ever mean it, but he wants people to say that. Critic reviews. Randall Colburn from the AVClub.com says, Berger dropped this 20-minute episode to his YouTube channel on Thursday, saying that after a lengthy development process, it didn't work out. And that's a shame, too, because this shit is hilarious.
Nice.
Berger's manic acid drip style is heavily on display. A mere mention of celebrity chef Emeril Lagasse devolves into a feverish score of sweaty Emeril edits, and he's surrounded himself with a colorful cast of characters from his antagonizing father to former presidential candidate, all in quotes, John Finan, to Brandon Harris, the creator of a jaw exercise product called Jawzercise. Berger hopes there could be another life for this show down the line. We do too. Looking at you, Adult Swim. That's from Randall Colburn. We'll do a couple viewer reviews real quick here. Martin Jenkins, 1 year ago, said, to be clear, the exact type of content that I crave. Vic Berger is life. Genius level writing and comedic timing, the laughable awkwardness of the stare downs and random zoom ins, the sound effects, the samples plenty, priceless. The intelligent and important subject matter that would spark needed debate among certain demographics. There are literally dozens upon dozens of ridiculously simple reality TV shows on air as we speak, designed with the sole intention of dumbing down Americans and keeping them dumb. Assorted arrays of cray, as I always say. This a unique, refreshing, and most entertaining stuff. Good luck to you, Vic Berger, and all of those involved. Nice, well thought out review. Well done. A couple more real quick. The internet says Vic's dad roasting him harder than a couple of steel workers in a vat of molten steel. Pretty funny. Yeah. Vic Berger's dad is a character out of Tim and Eric. Comrade Goyevich says long-form Vic Berger is dazzling in technicality, but the real draw is how perfectly it captures the emotion of observing contemporary political media. Perhaps more intelligent than we're going to give that credit for. Fugia Mofug says his dad was rad. Heard your wife cuts your grass. And finally, 1 year ago, Luke Hatcher says, this is art. We do not deserve you, Vic.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to FCF Airport. Local time is 11:11 and the temperature is 69 degrees. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captain
That's your wife.
turn off the fasten seatbelt
Yeah.
sign.
I had sex with her a couple days ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
And you want to high-five that shit.
I was like, I'm going to Vegas. I might die. One last time.
She's like, here's my body.
And she's like, here, 30 seconds. Hurry up. I'm not going to move. Just hurry up.
Yeah, you do the work.
More than enough, yeah.
If I fall asleep halfway through, you'll understand.
15 seconds.
I don't take offense to it
15
anymore.
seconds in, yeah.
I'm like, you know what I tell myself? I'm like, because that's how I refer to myself.
Sure.
So I was like, you were so good, she passed out.
Whatever you got to tell yourself.
There's the laugh. I needed that laugh. I needed that.
Now's the part of the show where we grade the pilot in question. We look at a grading scale. It's 1 through 7 based on the characters from the television program from the 19 Addy. I fucked that up last week,
The
too.
Addies.
From the 19 Ad 90s, affectionately and accurately known as Wings. We look at all the characters, 1 being the worst character, and that's a Roy Biggins. 7, that's the best character you're going to get on Wings. That's a guy go by the name Brian Hackett. Matthew, I don't know, 20th appearance on the show?
We're double digits easy.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I turn to you as our guest. How do you rate what the hell is going on with Vic Berger?
Yep. So I've given out one of these in the past. I've never been truly criticized of being an easy grader, so I don't want it to be framed that way. This is a Brian Hackett for me. This is my main vein for comedy. Honestly, it is.
7.
It's your penis for comedy?
Well,
you got to drain the
sorry.
main vein.
Yeah,
That's the penis.
You
That's
gotta
right.
drain the main vein.
This is Matt's penis of comedy.
I mean, the Tim and Eric world, the Steve Brule world, I would even, like, and they may not appreciate this, but I mean, even Vic's, like, I don't know, his appearance itself. Like, you can kind of squint and see that Steve Brule character in there.
A little bit, yeah.
He's got wild hair, just like
He's
Steve
got the
Brule.
wild hair for sure, but the nonverbals are kind of there. Anyway, I don't know. It taps into enough, more than enough of like my comedy veins that I'm here to give it a 7.
Wow.
I was super. I like
A 7.
big fan.
It's a gold nugget.
Yep.
Jason, you had a great interview.
Thanks,
No,
man.
I seriously want to say you did a great job on the interview.
Thank you.
You're passionate about what you're talking about. That's great. What do you rate? What the hell is going on with Vic Berger?
Matthew said I feel like he's an easy grader, handing out 7s this way and that.
I don't know the last time you handed out a 7.
Me personally?
Yeah. Been a long time.
It's been a bit, but here's the
Has
thing.
it been a while?
It's been a while. We've seen almost 300 pilots at this point.
Right.
We've seen the worst of the worst, and arguably we've seen the best of the best. Some of the 7s that I can pull from my memory: Chris Elliott, Action Family,
Yep.
the show that he made for HBO. Robert Smigel and Conan O'Brien's Look Well, starring Adam West. Phenomenal.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Sure.
What's Owen? Not Luke. What's the Owen? Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson and Jack Black in Heat Vision and Jack.
Heat Vision and Jack.
Like, just otherworldly absurd.
Sure.
Phenomenal. I don't know if that's up in that echelon for me. I don't know if that's a 7.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna have to give what the hell's going on with Vic Berger. I think I'm gonna give it a 6.
The same as Blondie from 1954.
Obviously, they were trying for different things.
Sure. No, I'm just making
They're
a
doing
joke.
different things, literally
We don't
65 years apart from each
We
other.
don't give 6s out very often either. So no, it's not a slap in the face at all.
No, this was good. I like this very much. I love the Tim and Eric catalog. Tim and they've kind of split off and do their own things on occasion. And Office Hours and Tim working with On Cinema and Vic Berger. He has his own gang on his side of people that he works with. This is very funny. I would genuinely love it if they were able to go on to tackle different subjects in this bizarre, absurd style with this editing. This is really up my alley.
I want to see the episode where they do an episode about lot lizards.
You mentioned that during the interview.
No.
Yeah.
I hearken back to the interview.
Thank you for hearkening. Yeah, John Finan, who was in the show, who was a truck driver, you had mentioned that.
Do you think they knew what lot lizards were?
If not, they laughed politely.
They left.
Yeah.
You know what a lot lizard is?
I do,
Okay, thank
actually.
you.
Yeah,
I think it's common knowledge.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
I really enjoyed what the hell's
Great.
going on with Vic Berger. Should I give it a 7? I don't know. I don't.
I wrote it down as
I
a
know
6.
you frown on decimals.
No,
Could
we
you
can't. No, we can't.
No?
No.
Okay.
No,
He's
we can't.
wrestling with it, though.
It's a big step,
I'm
Jason.
going to give it a 7.
Holy shit!
I want to be a tough customer and really hand out 7s to those only really deserving it. But I'm thinking about I'm thinking about what if there were other episodes? And I'm thinking, oh, that would be great. What's better than that? What's more high praise than saying I wish there was an entire season? This is not premeditated. Me saying a 6 and then defaulting to a 7.
Sure.
This is a 7. And you know what they say is 777. That's the number of God Almighty. Captain
Really?
Philip Rest.
They say that?
Oh yeah, 6 is the
I've never
man
heard
is
that.
5.
I know the 6 is the devil.
6 is the devil and 7 is God. Captain Philip Rest assure I turn to you. It's in the ball's in your court. You're shaking your head vehemently. How do you rate? What the hell is going on with Vic Berger?
We've put him in a tough spot.
After the shock of what my brain didn't process what was going on.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Like you saw a horrible car accident or something.
Only because it was the action.
Thank you.
I respect and I enjoy this type of comedy, not as much as you guys do, but I do respect and understand. I comprehend what the drive is.
The appeal is, yeah.
I to be honest with you, like the whole Steel thing, like the timing is perfect for bringing this up.
But it was made in 17.
I know, and that's the crazy thing.
Released in 2000.
But it is still from that's 4 years that we're talking about. It's still a relevant subject. We're not talking about turtles and fucking Monte Carlo that are dying. You know what I mean?
Love Monte Carlo.
I did enjoy Vic. I to be honest with you, like the part where he was like on the couch like talking and they were videotaping him and like then like his wife couldn't get the gate open reminded me of how we do this show. There's been times where my drunk ass wife come downstairs looking for beer.
She's still suspended from the program.
She's still suspended. She's at rehab by that. Right? Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. I thought the subject matter was really appropriate. And after talking to the hearing the
getting
guys,
all that information, all that extra
has a lot
info,
to do with it. I don't do this very often, guys.
Hold on a second. What?
I don't do this very often.
What are you doing?
And I don't think.
Wait.
In Couch Pilot's history,
Hold on a second.
He won't.
In Couch Pilot's history, I don't think this has ever happened.
What are you doing?
Give it a.
I give it a 7.
Hey.
I do. First time ever. Three sevens. Hey guys, I'm going to Vegas. Blackjack. 21.
Triple sevens.
Congratulations, Dave. Congratulations, Vic. This has never happened before.
Well done.
Incredible. Holy crap.
The only thing that would have made this better if they would have had a fucking Ted Cruz cut to make him look even more of an asshole than he always is. I hate Ted Cruz. I hate him. But no.
There's a couple YouTubes out there that they...
Oh, yeah. I love it. What a scumbag. Texas, get your shit together. What was that one from?
That was... I did recognize that.
I don't...
I think we...
There's like a rap beat at the end there?
Kevin and I might have brought that one in.
There's a rap beat at... I don't recognize it. I had no idea when I pressed it to summon that. I do know what this is, though. 7 all around. 777. They say if man is 5 and the devil is 6, then that must make me 7. This pilot has gone to heaven. And with that, we close the book on what the hell is going on with Vic Berger, and we will never speak of that show again. But join us next time, won't you please, when we start our landmark 30th season and ultimately the summer of CBS Summer Playhouse, when we watch the pilot episode of In the Lion's Den. Here's a little something to wet your whistle. A former game show producer finds herself producing a kitty puppy show.
Ooh.
You can find the entire episode.
Oh, he said kitty puppy show. Sorry.
Yeah, oh, Jesus. We can find the entire episode of In the Lion's Den by subscribing to Couch Pilots and SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then simply click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or go to YouTube, Matthew.
You'll know what to do, Tubes.
The Summer of CBS Playhouse.
Wow.
What's CBS Playhouse, Blake?
That was a situation where they would show shows in the summer, and to see if they would catch on, so they could launch them into television shows.
Done on CBS for 3 seasons, 3 separate summers. I want to say like 87, 88.
Wasn't Fuzzbucket? Fuzzbucket was a.
I'm thinking not.
Oh, that was a Disney. The Sunday Disney movie or whatever.
I think
you're
so.
Right,
Disney was associated with ABC,
right,
so I think that's different. But very much in that same vein. We've done a lot.
Here we go talking about veins again.
Love main veins. So much. We've done a lot from the CBS Summer Playhouse in the past, and there's a handful of those that aren't available online. But I said, let's get together all of the remaining ones we haven't done, and let's just do it this summer. Let's just make a summer of it.
Get her done.
Season 30. In the middle of the summer, building up to episode 300. Let's really flush out the rest of the Summer Playhouse.
That's great. That's a great idea.
Thank you very much. If you want to contact the show, go to couchpilotspodcast.com. There you can see all of our different formats for social media, whether it's Facebook or Twitter. You can listen to all of our shows there all the way back from episode 1. Why you'd want to do that is beyond me. You can also call 910-PILOTS-1, 910-745-6871. Give us a call. Leave us a message. Hey, you're going to get some frequent flyer points.
Hey, yeah. You want to run through frequent flyer points for people who may not know?
Please, go ahead.
We have 2 pachinko machines here, and they detect and track everybody's downloads, shares, and everything. And you earn points based on your activity with Couch Pilots.
That's right.
And you can you accumulate them all the time. You can turn them turn them in for aviator glasses.
Goods and services rendered.
Good and services rendered.
Use underpants.
Use underpants.
Surprise prizes.
Surprise prizes. And you can be on the show.
Yes, if you accumulate enough points, you too can be on the program for
We
sure.
actually, I
right.
think one of the prizes that we sent to someone was a pregnancy test.
We did do that, and you can get that too. If you need
Yeah.
it, we'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Go to patreon.com, go in the search engine, put in Couch Pilots, and then you can probably put in like a credit card and then give us your money.
Yeah.
We love money. We're going to waste it. We're going to put it in our checking accounts like a couple of buffoons.
Yeah. We're not going to put it in Dogecoin.
Yeah, that's right. Straight into Doge.
I'm really amazed by that, though, that you have $0 in your checking. That's crazy, but it's interesting. But
I think it's in a savings account. He needs some in his checking to pay for his bills, I assume.
I have none in either checking or
None
savings.
either. Oh, wow. Okay. This is the final episode of season 29. And at the beginning of season 29, you very foolishly said, at the end of this each episode, I am allotted a time to speak on whatever I like. And for season 29, I'm going to pay Jason a compliment.
Sure.
And you've done so. You've been true to your word up to this point. This is the final episode of this season and the final compliment that you have to give me. I can't imagine that you've given this too much thought, but I want to ask.
I've given it a lot of thought. I've
Okay.
been saving this one for
You've been saving this one. Okay. Lay it on me, brother.
I'm not so much sure that it's a compliment more so than a statement. Is it okay? Can we have a asterisk by it? And more so,
Sure.
you're the best friend I've ever had, and
That's stupid.
you're the best friend I've ever had, and I appreciate our relationship, and I appreciate you, and you don't judge me, you deal with me, I guess is a way to put it. But you continue to be my friend, and I probably wouldn't be doing this if I didn't know that I was going to spend time with you every
there's
couple weeks.
there is something disheartening in the fact that there's no passion left for the
No,
show.
there's passion. I mean,
okay.
Matt, did I give passion? I gave passion. But no, just,
This is what I think.
you know,
I think while you're okay.
no, you're going to ruin it.
Okay.
You're my best friend, and I can't wait to either speak at your funeral or your wedding, whichever one happens.
Funeral.
But no, you are my best friend, and I appreciate you very much, and I do enjoy this. Like I said, I wouldn't keep doing it if I didn't know that I was going to spend time with you every other week.
Well, that's very nice. Thank you. And I hope that you know that I love you dearly. And I hope that you know that not through me saying it right now, because I speak so much bullshit here, but through my actions. I hope that you know that
for
I
sure,
love you
for
through
sure.
my actions. And because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters for anything, anywhere, forever and ever.
Amen to
Is
that.
your
Amen.
actions.
Amen to that.
So thank you very much, Blake, for saying that.
And stop
And-
kissing my wife.
Well, I stopped that a year ago because you're in tears on the back porch with some cigarettes.
Because she kept going, Jason, Jason.
Well, that's not for the podcast. Matthew, I don't know what you think you're doing, breaking all sorts of records with a number of appearances on the show, but more power to you.
Well, it's in the same vein.
What is it with this vein?
I'm going to lean. I can't give it up.
A lot of
I can't
vein
give it up.
talk.
Yeah, a lot of veins talks tonight. Get the chance to hang out with you guys for a couple hours. Love the podcast. Love what you guys do here. Big night, and also had to show up to set the stage for episode 300. So
This is a big deal. This is a big episode.
Now
couldn't miss it.
Your children and your wife came to the basketball game,
Right.
and to see their father victorious. I think your kids were carrying you off the court on their shoulders.
Strong.
That's
strong
right. Yeah, they're
children.
really. That's right.
As your wife was
Yeah.
carrying a pan of cupcakes.
Mm-hmm.
Is your wife and children going to be there to see you just totally get annihilated?
I'd love for him to be there.
Okay.
I would love for him to be there.
All right.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
the stage, even my wife showed up to watch me make an idiot of myself.
And this is my vow to everyone listening at home. By the time we record that episode, I will be married and my wife will be there in attendance as well. That is my
And then
promise
I'll
to
be
you.
dead.
That is my promise to all
And
of you.
Blake will have a busy week.
Read this on the podcast.
Oh, we're reading
and,
something.
and this is from,
Read that out.
is it? Okay, this is from yesterday at 6:16 a.m.
Yes. Yep.
So that was a Sunday.
Yep.
As of 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on 5/30/21, your available balance in your PNC checking account ending in
Dup.
was 0.00. Your ledger balance was 0.00.
How about it?
That's insane. That's awesome.
How about it?
Really putting a fine point
So,
on it.
No, that's great.
I had the time. Yeah. What a way.
He's wanted to prove that it wasn't a bit. He's
That's
like,
right.
"Not
No
yet."
bit.
I can't imagine a scenario in which Matthew is lying anyway, let alone about his finances. But I do want to take this moment to say I'm excited for episode 300. If it is even a fraction or a shadow of what Hoop Jeans and or episode 200 was, it'll be a resounding success.
Oh, yeah.
Very fun things planned. And I'm so glad that you want to be a part of it, Matthew.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled to be.
We're honored to have you there, and we're honored to have you here every time you say yes. We love you deeply. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Love you guys. Ton of fun.
Hold on a minute. I just thought about
always
this.
Good.
First of all, thank you for being on the show. I
Always.
love having you here.
Yeah.
The trophy. We tabled it. We put a pin in it.
Did something hit you?
Something hit me.
Hit his main vein.
All right.
Oh, it's going to be
Is it a main vein?
a mold of a penis, a
No.
human penis.
Okay. If I win, you have to invest $100
Okay.
into coin, whatever coin you
X coin. Oh, but I get to pick?
you get to pick, and you have to manage it for 1 month. And after that 1 month, I get whatever it is.
$100.
If I lose to you,
Right.
I have to give you $100 in cash to put into your checking account,
And it has to stay there.
and remain.
and it has to stay there. It has to stay there for a month because that will
That
bother
would
you.
honestly be hard. Oh,
Well,
gosh, yeah, kill me.
We'll simmer on that thought.
That
for
was
now.
pretty good, right?
There's some funny aspects of that.
Yeah. There's a lot I like to it, but I have questions.
Okay.
So, yeah.
We don't have time for
We'll
it.
get to those questions
Right.
later. But
Thank
in the
you, Matt, for doing the
meantime,
show.
Oh, always, man.
this pilot may have been rough, but it is always a smooth flight here on Couch Pilots. Thank you so much, everybody, and we will see you next time.
Smash the pocket.
Good night.
On behalf of Couch Pilots and the entire crew, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. Have a nice day.
We went around the barn a couple times. So. That was good. A lot of fun. Yeah, I've actually done it before. I want to hear the interview.
When I'm doing the interviews, I feel like I'm being